Welcome to the Gangcast, aka the Games and Not Games podcast. I'm Janet Garcia, and joining me, as always, is Isaiah Smith.
Hello.
How are you doing today?
Good. It's a good weekend. We got a lot going on. You know, we had the Dodgers win Game 1 of the World Series. We got Game 1 of the LA Galaxy. I don't even know what you call it. Yeah, I guess it's the phase
MLS
one, round
Cup,
one.
sponsored by somebody, I'm sure.
The Audi MLS Cup or something like that.
I think it is like sponsored.
Yeah. We got Game 1 today. We're going to that. That'll be fun. Decked out in my Dodgers hat and my LA Galaxy jersey. You know, I think it's a good LA weekend. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And there's so much going on this weekend. There's like another Lakers game today. We got a concert. There's like a college or high school football tournament going on.
Yeah.
There's the Tyler the Creator thing going on this weekend. This is like a busy LA weekend.
Like, if you're listening to this, well, actually, I would be like already past it, but it's like people need to like get in your car now. Like, you need to already be driving to where you're going.
I hope you're listening. I hope you are where you need it to be by the time you're listening to this.
You know, my brother had texted us in the group chat and said, yeah, Rams, Dodgers, Lakers, USC all won their games. And then that's because I had put in the group chat, the Galaxy have to win today. I'm so scared with like, you know, this is going to air after the game, so you'll know the results already. But they have to win today just to like, stay even. Like we're all, everything is nicely in uniformity.
Yeah.
I don't need us to be the odd man out, especially because like, I'm not going to lie, I was kind of hating on, you know, we have similar algorithms, and obviously a lot of people are talking about so many events in LA, so much traffic, blah, blah, blah. And I got one of those videos that's like, these are all the things happening. And it was a little different than the one you had gotten on your For You page.
Okay.
But I had one like that. And literally in neither of those videos named the fact that the Galaxy were playing.
Yeah.
So I'm like, not only does no one know that we're playing, imagine if we lose. Like, I'm not even going to tell anyone we played if we lose. Like, you don't got to know what I was doing. But yeah, no one mentioned it. I'm like, it's pretty big. And we also have our Heart Walk on Sunday too, which also didn't really get a shot on the things, but you know, it is gonna be what's gonna be. But that'll be fun. You know, 100-year anniversary.
This is like the was like 2 or 3 years ago, the middle of the pandemic, how like the Dodgers won the World Series, the Lakers won the playoffs, and I think the Rams won the Super Bowl. It was like all that happened.
Did the Dodgers
win?
I
think technically the Dodgers World Series win was like the tail end of the beginning, like you know how there's that like weird overlap, like how basketball is starting up now while the World Series is going on. I think it was like this, where like
I think you're right.
The Dodgers won,
2020.
and then the following year, like the season that overlapped with the win, the Lakers won and the Rams won.
Yeah, and
so it's like, man, if we could get the MLS Cup, we could have what's not a trifecta? What's a quadfecta?
Yeah, we're getting something.
Oh man, that'd be great.
So we'll see. But yeah, lots happening this weekend. So yeah, should be a fun one.
Yeah. I'm gonna be tired, but we'll muscle through. We're gonna muscle through. I'm gonna have you got those Red Bulls in the fridge. We're gonna make it work.
The real challenge is gonna be trying not to buy a bunch of stuff at the stadium.
Yeah.
Like, I don't really. I'm gonna like pack some snacks. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, those are to be enjoyed outside in the stadium. You know, I would never take anything inside per the rules of the stadium.
Is it a rule? I guess so.
Yeah. No outside food or drink.
Yeah. Oh,
you know, per the rules. You know, everything's outside the stadium. All my games are from Nintendo. Don't talk to me about anything.
Yep. There you go.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
Don't ask. Cool. Want to talk games?
Sure. All right. Let's get into the Exit game that we had played. We played Exit, the Abandoned Cabin. Isaiah, what is this game? We have some of them on the wall that aren't the Abandoned Cabin, but are other things that are related to.
So the Exit games are a tabletop series where they're sort of one shot, almost like escape room tabletop games. It's comes with like a bunch of little puzzles that you're trying to solve. There's a way to like track how well you did, how long it took you to solve all the puzzles and escape or exit. Hence the name Exits, like an escape room. And each one is themed around something else, right? Like we've had one where we were locked in a museum and we had to escape the museum before, I don't know, the next morning, or else we
the Chupacabra cave or
yeah,
something.
something weird. The one we played the other night was, what was it? A cabin?
The abandoned cabin.
Yeah, our car went off the road in a snowstorm, and we found ourselves in an abandoned cabin.
And we're like, what if we walked into this cabin?
Yeah, it was, I don't know.
It's open. And then suddenly it was locked.
Yes. The story of the exit games are all very like functional. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's something bad happened. You're in this place. Now you're stuck. But they're really fun games. They generally deal with mostly just like logic puzzles. Sometimes there's like physical elements to a puzzle where you need to like cut a shape out or connect some lines to reveal some information. But for the most part, like the vast majority of it is just like logical puzzles. Finding things hidden in pages or solving riddles to know the context for the answer or something like that. Really fun. We played a couple of them, and we have like 2 more. I think you got them for me for Christmas or something like that, like last Christmas
maybe
or
a birthday, because I think it was your birthday, a birthday. It was like probably at least 2 birthdays ago.
Yeah,
because it wasn't like maybe 3 birthdays ago. We've had them for a while.
That far.
It's been a while, but only that's not because we haven't been like into playing them. It's because like maybe it was Christmas now that I'm thinking about it, because I do know that I got you the advent calendar. They had an advent calendar of them.
Yeah.
And I got you for that. I don't think last Christmas, but the Christmas before that. Mm-hmm. And somewhere around then, I'm like, I also got a bunch of the games for us. And then we've kind of just had them sitting on the shelf.
You're right. Yeah.
I feel like we got kind of like, not fatigued, but like the advent calendar went a long way. So it was like, okay, cool.
That was really cool.
Also, for those who might not know, because did you know what I think you knew what an advent calendar was?
Yeah. I've heard of it before.
Yeah. I feel like you generally knew what it was.
It's a calendar leading up to Christmas.
Yes.
Or Christmas Eve, one of those, where like each day you get a thing of some sort.
A lot of traditional advent calendars are like chocolates. It's like a kind of little chocolate in there. But people have, and I believe, don't super quote me on this, but like I know it from being like Christian/Catholic, but it's kind of gained popularity in the States, at least over time, where a lot of companies also will do like their advent calendar, where Lego I think has an advent calendar. You little Lego people, or like there's like the Office advent calendar. Like, not that it was ever like hyperly religious coded anyway. It was always just chocolates, but like now it's
capitalism got its hands on it.
Yeah, they're like, wait, we can sell you a bunch of little tiny things. They even have like, there's like crazy luxury calendars from like big luxury brands that cost like $1,000+ and stuff. It's like, it gets wild over there. So I saw they had one for Exit, and I was like, oh, this would be perfect for Isaiah. He's never had an advent calendar. He loves puzzles. We can do these. It was a lot to do like a puzzle every day. That was like a little...
Yeah, we definitely fell off a couple times.
Yeah, it was a little tiring. Some of them were really fast, but some of them took a little longer, and some of them were connected. I think the only other thing I want to nod to on what the game is that you get like all the stuff you need in the box. Minus like you could use scissors, and they like say that in the box, and like, oh, if you want to use your own scissors, you can. But you can mostly like rip the pages and stuff. But you're basically like, you have a booklet, and you have like, not task cards, but like almost like the riddles or the hints, like here's what the puzzle is, and then clues as well. So like, when you mentioned kind of like exploring around, you're like kind of flipping through the pages, maybe you get something like, I'm making this up, it'd be like, a man with a hat is stronger than the man with the bat. Okay, well, let's look. Is there a man in a hat in the book? Or, oh no, but there's like, in this other thing we picked up had like a newspaper clipping, and the clipping mentioned the man, and then you like, I don't know, you take the A from that, and then you like use it, it's like stuff like that. They're kind of looped around, contextual. Like sometimes they are really simple, but a lot of times they are a little bit more complicated. They have a lot of really sneaky ones too, which where they're even use like the box of like the game comes in in different ways. Like,
I always think that's cool.
Yeah, like, oh, the answer is actually like the price in Canadian money or something. Like,
no, facts. Yeah.
Those are fun. But I think last shout outs it's 1 to 6 players, and I think it's ages, I think we said like 13 and up, or 12 and up, which I'm not going to lie, these 12-year-olds.
You might have to be a pretty smart 12-year-old to get some of these.
Some of these say 1 to 4 players. I really don't think it matters like how many players you have at the end of the day. I mean, obviously, like if you have too many, it's like how many people can actually try to solve, because you got to pass around the same pamphlet. But Yeah, no, these are like the smartest 12-year-olds on Earth. I think the last thing I want to ask before we get into how the abandoned cabin specifically went is what is our history with these games? We talked a little bit about it, but when did we find? Did you know about these? Did you introduce me to these? Did we stumble upon them in the game shop? I don't remember.
I think I originally came across the Exit games like in a board game shopping, like window shopping kind of setting. You know, more in the last few years, we've gotten more and more into board games, and so we like go to our local board game store and like walk around and see what they have and try to find stuff for us. And I think while doing that, one of the times, one of the salespeople like mentioned like, oh, like, hey, like, well, if you like escape games, Escape or Exit is this like, you know, kind of escape room in a box kind of thing that you can buy and take home and then do it at home. And it always intrigued me. I'd never played it until we eventually like tried. I think we got like 2 of them the first time we tried it.
Yeah.
And like it was really fun. I thought it was super cool. I enjoy doing the Exit games, contrary to what someone here might believe.
It's not that, actually, I never doubted that you enjoyed doing them. It's just that I'm laughing because I don't want to say I don't enjoy doing them because that's not exactly true, but this was the first, us playing this game specifically, the abandoned cabin, was the first time I felt like I got to do anything.
No, see, I feel like you say that all the time. I feel like you are always helping, even if it's not like the putting the final pieces together kind of thing. I think you are undervaluing the connections that you being there and you.
I think you are doing the, very sweet, and I think
I'm serious.
Okay, because here's my feeling. Like I appreciate your interpretation. That's what the show's about, right? You bring your take, I bring my take. We like meld the takes together, and it's just like one big piece of candy. But for me and my perspective, I felt like a lot of what I did, like at a certain, like I think maybe after the first one we did, where it's like, okay, and also mind you, I like have never played any of this stuff. Have you done an escape room in real life?
Yeah.
I've never done an escape room in real life. Still haven't.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? Never? Oh,
never.
Man, we should definitely do one.
Yeah. I'm down to do one, even though, again,
I know they've died down
I'm not
a little
that.
Bit,
I know there's the Tomb Raider one in Seattle. I think next time we go to PAX, I'd like to try that one.
Okay.
But like after doing like the first Exit game together, I was like, okay, I think my role in this game is gonna be like, does something need to get cut out of the paper? That's me. No. Like, I'm like, do you need me to get up and get a pencil? I'm gonna go get up and get the pencil. Because Isaiah will be in there like those memes of the guy like at the whiteboard, the clear whiteboard, you see him writing and it's like the montage. And like I'm like the friend asleep in the chair that's like awake there for solidarity. And like because Isaiah is nice, he'll be like, no, without you in the chair asking like, how do those two connect? Then that's when I used my genius to connect them. It's like, yeah, like I am like, I think I already referenced this on the show before, or maybe just to you, like in our lives, the episode of Malcolm in the Middle, when Reese found out that there was asbestos in the ceiling because he was hitting the ball and like it hit the ceiling and the asbestos came out. And that's what separated the particle or chemicals or whatever for their experiment, like Malcolm and his friend Stevie or whatever, where he's like, okay. And then Reese was like, see, like I contributed, like you couldn't do it without me, which is technically true and like totally valid for him to get credit. Like I was on his side, on the mom's side, whatever. But let's be real. 2 of those people are scientists and then there's Reese. And in this scenario, you're like, no, without you hitting the ball in the ceiling, the asbestos never came out. And that is true on a very technical level, but it is not,
Hey, man.
When we're all sitting down sharing our ideas, I'm like, how do I recite what you said back to you? But this one I felt more capable in this one. I got really close to solving a few of them, and I actually did solve one of them, which I was like, I won Exit.
All
like in my
mind. I contribute nothing to that one. Yeah.
But mind you, that's one of like, how many puzzles are generally in here or were in there?
I would say
I know it sucks because they're numbered, so we did know at one point, but
a good like 8 to 12, I would say.
I think there might be more. I don't know.
Well, there's more clue, like riddle cards that you get, but some of the riddle cards go together where it's like,
what I mean. How many riddle cards are there?
Oh, riddle card. It goes up to letter.
maybe like a P or Q or something like
somewhere
that.
around PQR, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
But again, like, you know, the star riddle or the star lock might need, you know, 4 riddle cards to answer it. And so like, well, yes, it's 4 riddles to the 1 lock.
Yeah.
But I count that as just like, I'd say there's like anywhere between 8 and 12 locks per.
Yeah. And there's,
game.
you know, like 20-ish something riddle cards, some of which are in conversation with each other, where the solution is like within the other card. You kind of use them all together or whatever.
Yeah.
Throughout, you also get like sometimes little pieces of things, like, and they'll try to like add lore. It'll be like, it's funny because, like you said, it's very serviceable. Because even like the one we did, they're like, you get a mysterious red object. It's a fucking red piece of paper with a square in it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, y'all did not try at all.
Yeah.
To do this.
It is a lot of bare minimum context to the cutouts and
You got the triangle of knowing, you know, it's a fucking
facts.
triangle, like.
But it's good. They're pretty inexpensive, right? They're I think what we said, like $15.
Yeah, they retail
like
for about
each?
15. I'd say the only like con to them is you can only play them once, so it's not even like you could play it and then give it away. Like, it's not. I think that's probably the biggest. I wouldn't call it a flaw because it's intended, but unlike a jigsaw puzzle, which you could argue also is like kind of only good for the one time you put together. At least you could hand that to a friend and they could do it or something. This doesn't work that way, but still fun. I think another cute thing that they actually didn't do for the abandoned cabin, which I'm like, what happened? Is normally at the end they let us they give us a card that you like keep to like commemorate that you solved it together. So like we had one where at the end we got like a pie recipe, which I think I've already thrown this in the fucking garbage already, but like one of them was like, oh, you can each player can pick up like a thing from the museum or something. Or some of the, I forgot which game it was, but it was like a thing from the place. And one was like an alien figure and one was like a baseball mitt or something.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, I'll pick the alien. You pick the baseball mitt. And this one, they're just like, okay, get the fuck out, Brokey. Like, you know?
No, facts.
They're like, I guess you're gone. Now, maybe that is because I do know that there's an abandoned cabin too. And the guy that spoilers for the abandoned cabin, the creep cabin owner is like, can't wait to, you know, smell your hair again when you're sleeping or whatever. And it's like, he like writes you later. But yeah, I guess abandoned cabin, here's one of my things I'd like to bring to the show to ask you. Did you feel like this one was like maybe harder than the other ones? Because I thought you would go in here and you would like wax this puzzle. We were using a good amount of hints.
I think you maybe misremember how we usually use hints for sure whenever we do these. At some point, there's always...
Maybe I do misremember. In my mind, you're flying through these puzzles.
Yeah, you definitely misremember.
And I'm like the idiot in the chair next to you.
And in all of these exit games, there's always a point where I'm like, I understand that they want me to get this and they think they gave me all the information I need. I need more information that I'm not getting, so let's look at a hint. And that happens at least... I don't know, 3-4 times.
That's my other role, the hint reader. Like, that's the other role I'm giving myself. I'm like,
well, yeah, you read the hints and you try to give me the hint in a way that I can then get it, kind of thing.
It depends on what your mood is or what I think. Because I know what we've been talking about, I'll sometimes look at the hint and be like,
oh no, we're really close. Or like, oh, we'll
like,
never
oh no,
get
like
this.
you have it. Or like, honestly, I see this shit was dumb. Like, let me just read you the answer. Well, I think too, like a lot of, it's so interesting playing more and more video games, more and more board games, puzzle games, riddles. Like now that this is like our, I'm guessing 3rd or 4th exit game at this point.
I'd say maybe a 4th or 5th.
Yeah, we've played a lot of them because we played at least, like you said, 2, and then we did the advent calendar, and we might have did one of the ones that I bought also. Now I know like their style for puzzles. Like they do a lot of like maybe like hidden words or count the number of things and like they have like other tropes that they do. But of course, the thing that always messes me up in puzzle games messes me up here where I think of one solution. I'm like, this is what they want. They want me to like, you know, count how many A's are in this sentence or something. And then they're like, no, actually the answer was to like flip the card upside down. I'm making this up. This wasn't the solution, but it kind of gives you the idea. And then later there'll be a puzzle and I'm like, well, I don't know what they need to do. And then we look at the hint card and they're like, count the number of B's. And I'm like, you didn't want me to count letters before. So now all of a sudden you're switching it up and then I am angry.
Yeah, no, it's very easy to get stuck, for lack of a better word, in like a specific mindset when you're playing these games. And so that's the one thing I always find myself is like having to pull myself back out, pull you back out, you pull me back out, you pull yourself back out. Like everyone's pulling each other out of like the corridor mindset where it's like, no, it's got to be down this way. They wouldn't put a hall here if they didn't want us to go down it. And it's like, well, there's like 8 rooms also coming off of this hall. Maybe step into one of those and explore something else. So yeah. But it is good. I think the abandoned cabin was fun. You felt like you contributed a lot more. Which,
yeah.
I
really felt like I did something this game. I was like, I solved that one puzzle.
Yeah. That's a win. I had fun. I think we solved it like just under the like poor.
Yeah. So they have
time.
you, like Isaiah had mentioned at the top, they have you like rate yourself after. You can like set a timer, and then your rating is based on how long it took you and how many hint cards you had to use. So like they kind of put it in a table style where like this many hint cards in this time, and then it's like a grid, and then you match up how many stars you got. We were like just under 2 hours, I think.
Yeah, it was like 158.
Like literally like just
that.
Underneath, and that was the difference between like a 2-star and a 1-star out of I think 5 stars is like the rating. I hope it's not 10. I think it was 5.
No, I think it was 5. Yeah.
Yeah, which I will say that's about the estimated length of play for most of these games is 1 to 2 hours. So I guess they are like meant to be a little hard because since there's not that many, it's like I guess they are like a little tough. But yeah, I'm just thinking of like who is this 12-year-old that's solving all these?
Man.
And even in the promotional pictures, which I'll just you can put in the YouTube version if you want. Like these are all adults. These are grown adults.
Yeah, no, these guys all have
3
401ks and are contributing.
These are 3
to
adults.
retirement. Ain't no 12-year-old on this website.
Yeah. But I don't know. I'm sure there's like, I'm scared of that kid who can just like solve everything because they're probably gonna think I'm dumb. Is the thing. They're like, wow, really? You got like an extra how many decades on me?
Yeah, facts.
And you can't, know that 2 + 2 is 4, and then you go to the 4th page, and then you look at the 4 figs in the tree or whatever.
Yeah. No, really. I don't know. Maybe this if we keep playing them, it'll expand our creativity. You know what I mean?
I think so too.
It'll force us to think from different perspectives. And
well, it kind of reminds me of like this is sort of veering off topic in a sense. We're getting into soon what we'll talk about next with our backlog and video games. But I've been playing a lot of Cryptmaster, which is a dungeon crawler typing game where like you type to do your attacks. But a big part of the game is also solving like little riddles. You'll have like the Cryptmaster, like you can open a chest, and then like you kind of play. It's not 20. It's like 5 questions with him, but he can only do like senses, like feel, touch, taste. He can do remember also, which I didn't know, which will tell you what he remembers about the object, which is super useful.
I wonder how many. There's got to be more words that he can do then. Like, I wonder if it is just
the game does.
dynamic.
I looked back. I mean, there are more words, but I looked back at how they tutorialize that section, and they give you like 6 words you can ask. But technically, I use different words than the words they gave me, but they're the same general idea. Like, like smell's another one, but remember is one that is good. But anyway, TLDR is like there's like you're trying to guess an object in a container. But then there's another type of riddle in the game where there's these like skulls, and that's like a more traditional riddle, and you have to put the answer, and it tells you how many letters you need in each of these instances. So that already is a big help to figuring it out. But I bring this up because with Exit and like learning the language of the game, you've been watching me play Cryptmaster kind of casually here and there. And sometimes you'll like jump in and like offer your kind of advice or ideas for the like answers. But specifically the riddle ones, 8 times out of 10, you just know the answer like immediately. And you're like, yeah, like it's an old riddle. I've heard this before. And I'm like, okay, like where the fuck are these like riddle books where Isaiah was just reading riddle books as a kid? And meanwhile, I'm like, now I know like a couple of really basic ones, like there's the man and the son, or the doctor's the woman, or whatever the fuck. I know that one. I know the like you have 2 coins, like one of them isn't a nickel.
Yeah.
That's all I know. I know those 2, and I only know those 2 because I think they were both on Scrubs, or like one of them was on Scrubs.
Gotcha.
The nickel was on Scrubs. Okay. So I guess this will be our thing where we can, someone new will come into our life and play these, and we're like, oh. This is just how this works. And we'll be flying through, and they'll be sitting there wondering why the fuck we know the answers to these.
Yeah.
I think the last exit question I want to ask you, though, is would you be interested in doing another advent calendar? Don't worry, I have not bought you one, and I will not buy you one. I'm just kind of curious how you felt about that aspect of it.
I would say yes. The only hesitation I have is 24 days of riddles can be taxing. You know what I mean? It's just like, even if the riddles are short.
Every day I was like, honey, your riddle's getting cold.
Yeah. No, facts. It's like, oh man, even if you like bank them a little bit, right? Where it's like, oh, I just do 2 every 2 days or something like that. It's still a lot of thinking. Usually either first thing in the morning or last thing at night, before bed. And it's like, do I want to sign up for that again? I do, but I want to break still. Even the break we've had is still a little too short.
When I gave this to you, and then I would kind of do the riddles with you and sit with you, I felt like a parent watching their kid have to do some homework assignment they signed up for or something. Where I'm like, I don't know, your teachers gave you this. I'm not really sure what she wants you to do with it.
Yeah.
All right. Backlog check-in?
Backlog check-in.
Backlog check-in. This was, I would say, generally your idea. I mean, I had been talking about my backlog with you. But what does a backlog check-in look like for you this late in the game?
Yeah, no, we're end of October, almost at the end of the year. I know we keep track. I know I keep track. I believe you keep track too of the games we played this year, whether they were new this year, released this year, or just new to us this year, or what have you. And inevitably, we're only human. There's not enough time in the day to get through all the games and all the movies and shows and things that we want to get through. So I figured it'd be good for us to sit down and chat really quickly about just what is in our backlog. What is it that we want to try and hit before the end of the year? What is it that we're cool kind of pushing off until, if it falls into the beginning of next year, that's fine too, because generally the beginning of the year is also a little bit of a lull after the holidays. Kind of curious to hear where you are in your backlog, what you're playing, what's on the docket, and go from there.
There's a lot on the docket. So because of my job, I tend to focus on the calendar year as highest priority, because everything else, it's I'm already late, so I'm not going to rush to still be late. I'm just going to kind of enjoy at my leisure. So I'm trying to think if there's even any games that are older. Oh, a good example is Lotto Knot. I beat that not too long ago. I was just enjoying that game, playing the game, had fun with the game, beat the game. That game was only a year or two old, but it's not going to be in this year's conversations outside of me being hey y'all, I'm playing this, on Indie Council or something. Or here, I've mentioned Lotto Knot on here as well. So I'm okay, what can I finish before the year's done? Which there's only really 2 months. And let's be real, that last month, half of it's a break because it's December. So
yeah, that's fair.
That being said, I'm not going to finish the list that I have, but I have a list of 25 games that I want to not finish necessarily. Some of them I want to finish. Some of them I want to check out and see what's up. So should I just run through this list? It's should I bring just the heaviest hitters up here?
Yeah, I would say maybe start with the heaviest hitters and we go from there.
The heaviest hitters. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is technically on there, but I don't think we're going to finish it. And I'm okay with that. But I want to write it down just so that I don't forget it. I don't think so. It's really long. And
at the end of December gets quiet. There might not be anything else for us to do. It might be good to just
I'll tell you one thing. You got to catch up to where I am, because I'm not going to sit there and watch you catch up to that part of the game.
Fair. That's fair.
But you're not that far from me. You're a chapter or two away.
Yeah. Which in this
here's
game,
the thing.
Who knows?
I do think, well, if you really want to, you can do anything, right? But I think if we really decided to, we could just take a weekend and finish it.
Really?
I think so, because I think we'd have to go ham both days. I'm talking 2 8-hour days. But I think we could just hey, today someone eat their cereal. Okay, you play. Okay, now you play, you eat your cereal. We just go. We probably wouldn't be able to clean that weekend, but I think we could, because there's only 14 chapters or something in the game.
It says main story is 47 hours.
That's
main plus sides is 91. That sounds more.
That's more. We're kind of in a main plus sides, but we're also going more beelining now. I think I'm on chapter 8 or 9. And I do know that some of those chapters are kind of backloaded a bit.
Yeah.
But there's still only 5 chapters or something left. Like, I think we could do it if we wanted to, but I also know we don't want to. So
no, that's fair.
This is a game that I would love to have finished, but I don't want to actually go through the act of finishing it.
I say we finish it. I say we finish it this year.
I think, here's the thing. I'm open to saying yes to that, but my thing is that my motivation is just that, like, I don't want this to become like our own meme. You know what I mean? We really let this get away from us. Okay, fine. You know what? Sure. We'll finish it.
Cool.
Maybe like not for sure, but maybe next weekend or at least like do a big dent. Like, I don't mind failing at trying to finish it, but
sure.
Because next weekend, for instance, hold on, fucking Google Calendar is that thing where, like, you click on the next thing and it's the next month, but then when you click again, you're like on the next month after that. It's like, because what do we have? Normal stuff. Yeah, it's a normal weekend next weekend. We don't have any. I don't believe there's any Galaxy game. I don't know when the next playoff game. Well, no, because the next game's away, and then the third is only if they need the third or whatever, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, sure, let's do it. Why not? I had no idea that we would come out of today deciding to play Rebirth. Honestly, like, I feel like I'm excited about that though, because Sunken Cost Fallacy, I've spent so many hours to not have finished it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to finish it at some point because I do want to play the third game. At least start it. I might just like be like, hey, it's not. Or maybe I'll like see what the vibes are in the streets. That one I won't hate finish as much as like this one. But we're right in the middle of the trilogy. I'm just honestly, I'm hoping they take a while to make that last game. I'm like, keep it. Don't put it out.
Take your time.
You don't want to release that with GTA, Like, what do you just release in space? Man.
Anyways.
Okay, so that's one of mine.
Okay.
This one I could knock out. Honestly, I should just knock this one out this weekend. Let's just start making clay. Indica. I'm literally 10, 15 minutes away from the ending. Literally. It's a short game. It's a story game. It's like a funky kind of art house game. Frankly, I don't recommend this game. I don't think it's like good generally, but it is very interesting. I think if you're someone that's like that loves the artsy fartsy stuff in games, I think it is like a really compelling and unique game in that sense. And some of the story stuff does have merit, but some of the gameplay is like really bad. So it's not going to make any of like my list personally, but I got so far into it. I'm literally right at the end. The only reason I didn't finish it is because I was running through it for talking about on MinMax, and I was playing like the morning before we recorded, and I had to like go to record before I could finish the game. And then I was just like, oh, I'll come back to it. And I never did. So I know literally exactly where I am. I know what's going on. Like, it's going to be a pretty light lift. And I'll just say it. Honestly, I was using a guide for most of that game because the puzzles are like dense as fuck. The movement is slow as shit. Like, I'm like, you know what? I think it's a fascinating game, but the puzzle design is pretty grating. So I'm like, okay, it's the kind of game where I'm like, I kind of just want to like, hey, know what I have to do because I want to get to the next thing, like see what the next thing they're doing like mechanically is, but more so than that, see what the next thing they're doing narratively is and where the story's gonna go. So that's another one of mine. Another one I have for the heavy hitter is Cryptmaster. I already talked about that.
I want to play that myself. I'm not gonna lie.
I think you're gonna really like it. I am a little embarrassed that I think my like finish time is gonna be like 15 hours or so. It's like an 8-hour game, but
hey, man,
I don't know. I'm going really slow with it, but it's very fun. And finishing it is actually like spoilers for the future. I have it in my next iteration of my top 10 is gonna have this game in it, and now I'm like second guessing the placement because I'm like, I mean, I'll just say it because it's not that deep of a secret, but with Animal Well, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm going to drop Animal Well a little bit lower because that really pissed me off, like some of what they did with the design. But now playing Cryptmaster, I still think it's a fantastic fucking game, but I'm like, I think Animal Well is still maybe a better game though, because it's like a little more compelling.
Sure.
And Cryptmaster, I think, like, I love it, and as someone that doesn't know riddles as much, I think it's really interesting, but I do think it gets a little bit dinged negatively if you do know riddles like you, like some of those answers are like, oh yeah, it's this, and that kind of takes the fun away.
Sure.
Now it's not really the game's fault, but at the same time, like, it's not like they're sitting coming up with new riddles, but also seems kind of hard to come up with new riddles, so it's kind of sitting in a funny spot. But I'm glad I'm working on finishing that. That I'm working on knocking out. I guess I will lightly pause there because again, I could go for a while, and we have some in common, so I want to hear what some of the top of mind titles you have.
Yeah. For me, so you mentioned Final Fantasy VII. That's a game that is kind of like already in progress for me.
I'm gonna put it on the calendar right now so I remember.
Nice. Metaphor is another one, right? I feel I skeeted about it. I don't know if I posted about it. I'm gonna go with post. I don't.
Skeet is really bad.
Calling the thing skeets is gross. Yeah. I posted about it on Blue Sky yesterday that like I
dropped a cloud. I don't know. We got to do something.
Yeah, I cloud watched.
I blued myself.
I am like 50 plus, almost like 60 hours in, and I feel like there's no way I'm like near the end. I'm definitely like approaching the end, but I don't think I'm near the end.
You said you're 50?
I'm like 55, maybe 56.
That's pretty good. You're like
around there.
Probably at least halfway done.
I'm definitely more than halfway done. Like, again, looking at...
You can peek at the guide I put on the fridge.
I peeked at the trophies to see, like... Because after every, like, major mission thing, you unlock a trophy. And I was like, oh, okay, I got, like, 3 hidden trophies left. So I'm like, all right, I must be, like, at least 3 things from the end. And, like, I'm just so concerned with my time because I don't know. This game could go on for another 30 hours. It can go on for another 5. And the story is like at a point where that is also true. Like they could wrap the story up in 5 hours. They could wrap the story up in 25 hours.
Right.
I have no idea. So all that to say, that's on the list of stuff I definitely want to finish this year, obviously. Before I started Metaphor, I started Plucky Squire. And the game is fun. I didn't realize it was like a Baba Is You word game kind of thing.
Yeah.
At least, good chunks of it are. Some of the core puzzles so far have been that. So that's also fun. That's cool. I definitely think I can finish that.
Do you think I'd like Plucky Squire? Because you saying it's a word game kind of resold me on it. Because like in my circles, everyone's like, "Y'all, this game ain't it. It don't hit." But you seem to be like one of the more positive people I've talked to about Plucky Squire.
I could see you liking it for sure. Because it has like a similar vibe aesthetic to like Chicory, and I know you really bang with Chicory.
Yeah.
Different gameplay.
Yeah.
But similar vibe, similar energy.
I was painting like fucking I was Michelangelo in that bitch. I was just like out there.
I think there are going to be moments in Plucky Squire where you're like, man, this is dumb. Or like, what you need to do, but it's the puzzle of execution that like is just going to be a little frustrating because it is a little frustrating. I would say give it a shot though. I definitely say give it a shot, but be prepared to bounce off of it by like, 2 hours in. Like if you spend a evening with it and you're like, I'm just really not feeling it yet. Once you're like in and out of the 3D world and stuff like that, if you're like, this isn't it, then I'd say bounce. But 2 games that I haven't started yet, but that I really want to. One is Yakuza, Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth. Or is it Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth?
It's just Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth.
All right, Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth. I played the first Yakuza game this year, actually. Finished it this year. Really?
Was it your first?
It was, yeah.
But yeah, you played Like a Dragon. I think it was this year.
Yeah, I played it back in June. Man.
Are you playing that Dragon Age game? Because that comes out on Wednesday.
I want to, but I'm also behind in Dragon Age. So, and even if
there's too many RPGs.
Yeah, even if this isn't like a continuation, like story-wise or whatever, I still wouldn't want to get too into the modern ones without playing the older ones, because then I'll just never go back to the older ones. You know what I mean?
Sure, yeah. Okay.
And I already own the older ones. I got literally... We can pull out the PS3 today, and I can boot that up and hop into Dragon Age 2 and finish playing that. So I'm not gonna get it yet, but hey, if it comes to J-Pass, who knows? Maybe we'll dip into it.
I should be at least checking it out.
There's so Yakuza, and then Lorelei and the Laser Eye.
That one I want to try with you, because it's a big brain puzzle game.
Sounds great.
So that being said, I am ready to potentially just bounce off that and let you.
That's also great. Yeah.
Let you run with it. It seems like it's a really brilliant game from everyone I've talked to. Like it's like seems like it's like puzzle game of the year kind of.
That's
yeah.
Given that Balatro and Animal Well and everything else came out this year.
That's the vibe I get from people. Like I don't know for sure. Like there's definitely like I talked to a bunch of people that played both and they prefer Lorelei, but that's like. I hear that's like the one, and also that it's like not literally because I don't think it's that scary, but that's almost like the survival horror. Like it's like beating everyone and everything. It's like more survival horror than like this game, more puzzle than this game. It's like super cool or whatever. But yeah, I hear it's a big Galaxy Brain game. So that's also on my backlog list. But I figured we'd just start together. I have it on Switch already, which is like not my favorite platform to have it looking back, but we can just play it on there and hang out.
One thing I'm looking for, so if you have a recommendation, I'd love to try and squeeze one more thing in. Another Metroidvania. So we played, I don't think I've really played a Metroidvania since Prince of Persia earlier this year and back in January. That game was really good. It was really great. I think since that game, I did technically Animal Well. You could argue is a Metroidvania. But really since that, it's been just like RPG, JRPG, platformer with Astrobot, JRPG. Yeah. So what I want is a little bit more of a like, I want a lunch game, not so much a dinner game like a JRPG, but not like a breakfast game either, like Astrobot. Like I want something that's a little bit more meaty, not fully thinky, but like, keeps me on my toes, a little action here and there, a little platformer here and there, a little puzzle here and there, like something that's a little bit
People
more,
really like, I don't know if they'd call it a Metroidvania, and it might be, no offense, maybe a little too hard for you because it's like it's almost Soulsy, but people love Nine Souls.
Oh yeah,
and I will say again, no offense, I'm not trying to say that you like couldn't do it, but they do have difficulty settings in the game. I knew you were gonna just
you say I gotta put on baby bitch mode. Dang, that's crazy.
I'm not saying you need to. I'm just saying that if you happen to be a bitch, there's modes that you can turn on.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, I haven't played this because I'm like, y'all, I don't want to be parrying and doing stuff or whatever. But I don't know how Metroidvania it is, if at all, frankly. But it has that action adventure vibe. None of the genre seeds here listed as a Metroidvania, but it seems like
that's fine.
I'm sure you've looked at gameplay. I don't know if you pulled it up now, but it looks like what could be your kind of vibe. And I do know that like I don't want to misattribute this to the wrong person, but one of my friends or one of my peers had said that this is like while you're waiting for Silk Song, like this is what people need to be like playing and stuff like that. So, and that's a Metroidvania. So I don't know how Metroidvania it does get. It's not written in any of the tags, but it does have that 2D action adventure platforming, Sekiro inspired deflection. Jill is playing this from the Indie Informer and she really loves it. She hasn't beaten it yet. Patrick Klepek from Remap beat it and loved it. He didn't like the last boss. I think he said it was like, again, I don't want to butcher what he said, but I think he kind of was like, it was just kind of too hard for me. Like I wasn't down for it. Yeah. So he had like, I think also it might have some weird funky stuff with like other things going on with the ending where he kind of just like tuned it down and like finished it. And was like, hey,
I'm okay with that.
It's like, I know some people are going to get to this final challenge and be like, this is exactly what I wanted, but like, I'm kind of like, I'm good. This is like a little too much for me. But he loved it. I think Barrett from Kind of Funny also, I believe was a Nine Souls fan. So this has like this seems like if you're into this kind of game, it is like the game for you. So that might be a good one. Yeah. That one I don't have though. It is like $30 on Steam if you want to add it on there. It's funny because Steam's not very good at like this like algorithm stuff it does. Is this game relevant to you? And they're like, players like you love this game. I'm like, I don't know how true that is. That's why I skipped just because of the difficulty. But I think you like hard combat more than I do. So
oh man, do I like I guess maybe a little bit.
Or maybe you can handle hard combat better than I can.
Yeah, this definitely looks like that Hollow Knight, that Ori and the Blind Forest kind of like you're getting into these sequences of action where you're parrying and jumping and wall climbing and bouncing off of things. Yeah, so I can see what you mean. This definitely looks like it's up my alley. I'll throw it on the list. Yeah.
It's crazy that you're looking to expand your list. I'm looking to
not by much though. Not by much. I mean, just a little bit. There are also other things, right? Like the Silent Hill is something I want to get to this year if I can. But I'm fine with that also being pushed into like a January.
I will say, your Mario and Luigi Brothership, which I'm also excited for. But I know you're even more of a fan of that franchise than I am. That's coming out on the 7th of November.
I don't know if I would say that. I'm more interested in this game than I think you are. But I think you've played more of the franchise than I have.
I think I've only played one other one. Bowser's
I think
Inside
you've
Story.
played more of the franchise.
Oh, you never played it?
I've never finished a Mario.
Oh my god,
and Luigi
they're so
game.
fun. They're really fun.
I've like started them and played around with them. But yeah, no, never finished.
Also, I don't think it's going to be that good, but Lego Horizon Adventures is coming out on the 14th.
I drafted it. I have no idea if it'll be good or not. I think it will be. I think it'll be fun.
I think it'll be at least okay.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm going to like end up pausing everything to mainline. Maybe I will. I don't know. I'm a Horizon sicko, so. But I haven't.
I'm sure it's got co-op, right? I think so.
That'd be great. I'd love to at least try the game with you and see.
I think it does. Yeah.
Maybe that can be my best of for that week, and then you can join me here. Okay. Other things I have. This one I kind of wish that like I just stuck with it because now it's like I hate when there's too big of a gap. You get kind of lost in the game. Haunty.
Oh yeah.
I actually really liked this a lot. I demoed it for the first time at SGF like 2 years ago. Finally played the full build like earlier this year and was like, this game's even better than what I thought it was. It has a lot of the vibe I get from this game. It's like an exploration twin stick shooter, but it's very like minimal, kind of cutesy art style. It's like black and white. I think the story is something like, I believe you're in the afterlife and you're kind of like you were with this angel for a second and you were spinning up towards the heavens, but then like something went wrong and then you ended up like you're kind of making your way back up to the heavens. I think I might be kind of butchering that because it's been months and months since I played it. But what's really cool about this game too is it has like little like it has a capture mechanic, kind of like Mario Odyssey, where you can like infuse yourself into certain objects and interact with those objects to do things. So like maybe you can go into a light post and turn the light on, stuff like that. You can go into like a turret thing and like shoot from that turret. But there's also cute interactions, like almost like little mini games that you can uncover like within the town, for lack of a better term. So one of them was like there's these people doing a race, like a foot race, and you can like join them and like do the foot race, and then you get like some gems or whatever the currency is. So it kind of has like some of the energy of like a short hike, little gator game, Chicory, where it's like I love games that have engagingly interactable NPCs where it's like, oh, we're like I'm like in this little community and I'm like discovering things. So I thought Haunty was actually really good. So I'd love to go back and finish that. Would love to form an opinion on Silent Hill 2 as well. We played together, but only for like 2 hours and like not a lot happened. So I was like, I don't really know. You're Mid of Horror Fantagio. I want to finish Echoes of Wisdom, which you already finished.
Yeah.
And for the heavier hitters that I have, because I have a bunch of other ones listed, but Pepper Grinder, a lot of people weren't into that game, but I love platformers, and a few people I know that love platformers liked that game a lot. So I'm like, yeah, like I think I let the noise get to me, and I like didn't end up making the time for it.
Isn't it similar to like a Nina the Hollower kind of?
A little bit, because
it's like a platformer where you burrow.
Yeah,
like that, right?
it does have burrowing. Though Mina the Hollower still isn't out yet, right? Yeah, but we've like seen the demos and stuff of it. Yeah, it is kind of like that. It's like very momentum-y. Somebody I knew compared it to Donkey Kong, and I'm like, I love Donkey Kong because Donkey Kong is also very like, I mean, it's not burrowing, but you're kind of sometimes chaining things together, like going into barrels, and like Pepper Grinder has like some interactables kind of like that. So I feel like as the platformer sicko, I gotta play Pepper Grinder, and I think I will like it a lot. So I think just fun times, check something off my list. I really want to check out a couple weirdo artsy indies like Arctic Eggs, Buckshot Roulette, and Grun. Arctic Eggs, I still don't know what it's about, and I love leaving it that way. It's a surrealist like game where it's a surrealist cooking game, is what How Long to Beat says, where you're like making eggs for people or something. I don't know, and I don't want to know. I just want to play it. It's like 2 hours.
All right.
And I think it's pretty cheap. Like I bought it. I think it was like $10 max or something, maybe 5. I don't know. Maybe 12.
$10.
Yeah, okay, cool. Buckshot Roulette, you are playing Russian roulette with a shotgun, and it's like a puzzle game. So you might end up liking that.
That sounds cool.
I have that as well. People are like, it's kind of giving like Inscription vibes, blah, blah. I mean, that's not like a card game, but it's like a strategy, a fucked up little strategy game. And then Grun is it's a normal gardening game. Like it's not, like it's got some weird twists. I think it has a bit of a timey-wimey, but I might be misattributing that. So a lot of my indie council people liked Grun a lot, so I want to check that out. And of course, 1,000 Times Resist for the story. And I think my last like really big one, besides You're Like a Dragon, is I I guess that's it for really, really big ones. I would love to like do some cleanup. Like I think it'd be fun to finish Little Guardsman. Like I really like that game. You should play that also. I think you'd like it.
I looked at it. It seems cool.
Oh my god.
I like the aesthetic, right? Like, cutesy, hand-drawn, 2D kind of like art style and everything. But there's something about the tenseness. Again, kind of going back to that like horror movie episode you had last week, where it's like that what's the one that people compare
Papers,
it to?
Please.
Papers, Please, where it's like, man, they thought of doing something wrong and these people die or something, die of disease or get killed by a knight or something.
Real, though.
I know,
they
but
just
it's still just the guilt that I carry playing this game. It's like, what if I let in someone who's a murderer and they murder the town or something?
I will say I let in this little grandma, and then like right after I got like a note that was like, hey, just so you know, there's like these drug dealing grandmas coming in and like they're hiding stuff in baked goods, and I'm like, was that the same grandma? Like,
probably.
Yeah.
I do want to try though.
I guess it is a little bit like that, but it's really fun. It's but yeah, it's one of those. If you know Papers, Please, it's like that, but it does have a timey-wimey thing going on, and it's pretty funny also, which I think a lot of games struggle to pull off humor, and I think Little Guardsman is pretty amusing on that front. But yeah, I have a couple others, but those are like my biggest like heavy hitters of like I would really, really love to get through those, and for some of those, check them out. Like if Grunt doesn't end up paying for me or Arctic Eggs or whatever, I'm fine bouncing off. But I want to at least have like decided to not pursue those instead of right now where I'm like, oh yeah, I need to get to it. Like
Yeah.
What about you? Any final backlog? You've been doing pretty good. How many games have you? Are you mostly a game? I kind of know this already because I live with you. But like, are you mostly a game completer, or are you how often are you really bouncing off stuff?
I either bounce immediately or I finish.
That's how I perceive you as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Like there are some games I've tried that just really weren't for me. When I was looking for something new to play, I went through the list of PlayStation Plus games and I was like, oh, let me download like 18 of these things, and I would just boot up, give it 10, 15 minutes, and then bounce if I wasn't feeling it. I
do kind of love watching those days, even though like emotionally you tend to be kind of fussy during those days, because like Isaiah has a hard time finishing a game he loves and then finding a new game to love. Like sometimes things get lucky. Like I think Zelda and Metaphor, so lucky. Even though I don't know if you loved Echoes, but you enjoyed it. Like, it's like, oh, okay, cool. Yeah. So it's like, oh, he's playing Echoes. That's great because we already know he likes Metaphor. He's going to be like, when he's done eating Echoes of Wisdom, he's going to have a hot plate ready for him.
Yeah.
When Isaiah finishes eating his games and he's like, more. And I'm like, what about this? And you're like, no. And then like you take a bite, you like vomit all over the table.
Yeah,
it's like in this metaphor at least.
Trash out of here.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
I'm like, how is he still hungry after all these games?
Not the Stars in Time. That was the one I was
you didn't
trying
like
to bounce
it, yeah.
off of. What's the other one? There's there was another like 2D
Slay the Princess?
JRPG. No.
The one that people liked?
The Star. Yeah, I thought it had stars in it.
Sea of Stars.
Sea of Stars.
Yeah.
That is on my list that I want to get to. And that was this year, right?
No.
Really?
It was like last year, yeah.
Was it really? Oh man. Well, I want to get to it this year.
Yeah, sure.
That one definitely, especially since it came out last year, more than likely will be like a January, February kind of game. It's on the docket, but it's lower because there's really no priority.
Something I would love to play when I feel like I have more gaming time is I just want to get back to Epic Mickey. Like,
yeah,
I had so much fun with Epic Mickey. I loved Epic Mickey. I was having a great time.
That's surprising. I'm not gonna lie, it's a little surprising.
Yeah, like the jump is solid jump, good exploration. Cute little time. There's like you can be evil in that game. You can be good. Like there's a lot more to Epic Mickey than one might expect. So
all right.
And as it was in my most anticipated games of the year when we did that episode.
That is true. Yeah.
Yeah,
there are some of those upcoming games. Like I want to play Power Rangers when that comes out. I want to.
Isn't that out already?
No. Let's see. I had just looked it up actually. It's in my
I
fantasy
almost
critic.
have it.
It comes
Oh, it doesn't
out.
know. It doesn't have a date, but it has the year of 2024.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
But there's that. There's where's my list of games? The Rise of the Golden Idol. I want to play the first one.
Yeah.
Curse of the Golden Idol, I think it is, or something like that.
I think
something of the Golden Idol. Because I heard it was really good.
Yeah.
And then this is supposed to be coming out next month.
I hear it's a big thinky.
And I'm like, hell yeah, that sounds right up my alley. So I want to try that. Eventually, I'll maybe try Neva. Right? I know people were saying it was fun. Yeah. Yeah, no, that's I think I don't know if we have it or not, but Banishers, also want to try that.
I don't think we have it, but I also want to play that. Yeah.
I'm fine buying it. My Dead Wife game.
Check my PlayStation and see if it's in there. I don't think it is, but
and yeah, so there's a couple of those like just misses throughout the year or like upcoming ones. It's like, oh yeah, I did want to keep an eye out on that. Try those and see how they go. We'll see. I don't know when these are going to be played.
All right,
maybe that like 2 weeks in December when everything shuts down, it'll be a good like just we're on the couch, we're glued to the couch.
Well, good luck with your backlog, and I'll see you in Midgar, right?
Yes. Was it next weekend?
Yep.
Yep. We'll be there.
And then like when you look in your hands like covered in ash or something. All right. Best of luck to you and your backlog. And now for the not game section of the show, let's talk a bit about social media. Social media.
Yeah.
I kind of wanted to present
like
it.
World from me.
I kind of wanted to present it almost like I'm in the news or media space, acting like this is a brand new concept. Like, whoa, social media, what you need to know. Anyway, but I thought of us talking about this topic because Blue Sky has really been blowing up in our circles, which are gaming and tech. So I want to talk a little bit about that, but then also broaden it to just some of our approaches to social media in general, what we kind of use it for, any rules or limits. So starting with the Blue Sky blow up, what has that like looked like for you? What has it meant for you? And then how are you feeling about like Blue Sky as a platform, what you're liking, what you're not liking?
Yeah. So for me, I presume for you too, right? The recent sort of surge in my circles was spearheaded by the gaming community, right? Like, games media, game developers, game artists, musicians, like people for whatever reason. I guess it was around the recent Twitter X kind of announcement for like they're changing the way that blocking works or something like that. That kind of spurred a bunch of people to just like, you know what, this is it. I'm done. We're moving over to something else. And that something else became Blue Sky for a lot of people. So there's a wave that kind of moved over to Blue Sky, and it was mostly for me gaming people. But like pretty soon after, like 2-3 days, I started seeing more tech people kind of swing over as well to Blue Sky. And to me, that's like pretty much my only like Twitter community. It's just like there's the gaming community and there's the tech community. Developers, companies, publishers, journalists, announcers, everything, right? And so for me, it's like, oh, like this is great. Now my two circles are like seemingly starting to move over. Some people still haven't. I'm sure there's still a handful of people in the gaming space that's just like on Twitter. They still cross post or, for whatever setup they have, whether it's a company or a brand they have or something like that, right? Sure. Twitter is not dead. So like there's still inherent value being there for some people for sure. But a lot of individuals I've noticed have like moved over and probably do still cross post as well, but definitely less, I think. In the tech space, people have started moving over and I don't know that they're cross posting. I've also stopped opening up Twitter as much, right? Like I open it mostly for games and not game stuff. Thank you guys for following. But it's like once
polls comes to Blue Sky,
once polls are there, man, I really won't have a big reason to go. To me, it's mostly like the information. Like I don't go to Twitter anymore for the actual social interaction. I go there for like knowledge surfacing, right? Like if there's a new version of some software that I like gets dropped or announced, it's like showing up on Twitter. People are talking about it there. If a new game trailer drops or Nintendo announces a presentation or something, it's like, okay, I find out about those things through Twitter.
Yeah.
But I'm not interacting with the people as much as I would like or wish I did. But it's, I don't know, the platform itself is just like, I don't know, man, it's gone downhill. Like it's very ad written. The The bots are always in there. There's a long list of issues I have with Twitter as a platform. But the people are cool, and the people have moved on, or seemingly are moving on to Blue Sky, which is cool with me. I'm liking my time at Blue Sky. What about you?
There's a lot to unpack here. Let's see.
This is a very weighted question.
I live on social media. I still have my Twitter. I'm still posting on my Twitter. I have been experimenting with making Blue Sky my primary, because I've had Blue Sky since it first started popping, which was, I'd say, last summer is when it kind of first started getting. Yeah. It's like everyone's like running to make their accounts, like Blue Sky, Threads. I forgot what happened then. That was like when Elon officially got the company. I forgot like what the.
Yeah,
I think that remember. It was like early Elon days where like.
I think they're getting rid of blue checks, and it was like,
that was one of the big. Yeah, the verified was definitely a big point of drama. Pretty much everything that has changed about Twitter since Elon took it has been bad to most people, and I think the people it's been good to are the people that I don't want to talk to. Is kind of one of the key themes.
That's fair.
Like the only people excited about being able to buy their way into verification are like assholes and clout chasers, or clout chasing assholes for the most part.
Good
it's like, like
it's a whole like, the person who wants power is the least likely, or like, the person who should least have it kind of thing. It's like, I don't know if you're, there are legitimate people. I know legitimate
I know verified people that
who like, they pay
assholes.
for it because they want to give their audience like, hey, this is the cost of doing goods and services. Yeah. It's like, this is the cost of business. I am paying for this so that the people who are in my audience, they know that this is actually me, and they can hear me actually say things. But there are also, like you said, clout chasers, grifters, people who like are doing it for like personal gain reasons, where like they're trying to swindle people or convince people of something that's not true or whatever like that. So, yeah.
Yeah, and it's all just been really unfortunate, because it's like those are also the posts that like get more visibility. So obviously a lot of people I know that have paid for their blue check, they're like, well, I want to be able to like keep my voice out there, or post longer form videos. It's like another perk to like verified or whatever. But yeah, it's been I think that re-jogged my memory, like like trauma unearthed. I remember that. So yeah, it's when I ran to Threads. Like Hive had its moment. There was like one other one that Mastodon, was there. I never fucked with Mastodon. Yeah. I was like, y'all are doing too much with this Mastodon thing. I remember you trying to explain to me what Mastodon is, and I'm like, I don't understand what this is. I still don't fully understand
it, but I get it. Like, I get it enough, rather.
Yeah, I'm like, y'all are too smart for me doing the Mastodon thing. I can't handle it. Oh no, it's like it's great. It's really customizable. I feel like Mastodon is the building your PC of social media. I'm like, I don't want to do that. This is too much. There's maybe one other one I'm forgetting, but those are like some of the big players. So I got an account on all of those, like everybody else. I was on like really indie stuff at one point. I was everywhere. I was also running min-max social media at the time.
I was there.
Yeah, no, I forgot which one. I got one that was really small, and I don't remember what it is called anymore, but I was everywhere. Yeah, I was everywhere.
Oh, I remember. It was like tan and purple co-host or something like that.
I was on that too, but I was on something else. I want to say it was like a Black-owned social media platform. But I don't know. Maybe I'm like, I forgot the name of it, but it was like really small, and it was like kind of getting a little traction. Spill.
Oh, I didn't know man,
I was on. Follow me on Spill. No, I was kidding. I don't even actually know if I'm on Spill. I know min-max I think was on Spill at least. Like it was a whole. Anyway, I'm kind of getting on a tangent here, but when a lot of other Twitter likes popped up, I said, let me just make an account everywhere. And Blue Sky was no different. I did some posts on there, but mostly like my feed was not very like lively. So it's kind of like, okay, well, I can only like do so much on here. So I kind of was pretty quiet. I did have a few friends for many months that have been all in on Blue Sky for a long time. And they've been like, you got to come to Blue Sky. And I'm like, they ain't nothing for me there, though, is the thing. Like, I know you're there and like, you're great, but you're like one person, It's all about being where the people are, which of course is always like a frustrating predicament because, well, we are where you go, but like we
go where you are.
Yes. The classic problem of like, how do we all get organized and on the same page from different walks of life? It's like, it's not really possible.
Yeah.
And surprisingly, there was never I'm surprised we haven't seen bigger, almost like online protests of Twitter. Like there's never, like Twitch, for instance, there's been like, oh, don't stream today on Twitch.
Yeah.
Like we're trying to send a message to Twitch. That hasn't ever actually happened on Twitter. So like, to my knowledge, at least, or not like on a big enough scale for me to hear about it. So there also hasn't been a lot of ways for like us as Twitter users to like get organized. We're kind of just like there and we're like, yeah, we don't like Twitter, but like we don't like how the direction Twitter is going, but we like what Twitter is and what it offers. Anyway, big tangents, but I was among the people who were like, what if I tried out Blue Sky a little bit more with the change that Twitter had, which reads as follows. I did pull up the thing on the clarification on the block. Soon we'll be launching, this has already happened, launching a change on how the block feature works. If your posts are set to public, accounts you have blocked will be able to view them, but will not be able to engage, like, reply, repost. And they claim, like, on their, like, X engineering pages they announce this on, that this is so block can be used by users to share and hide harmful or private information about those they're blocked. So they kind of claim, like, oh, if I block Isaiah should be able to see my post because that'll be safer for Isaiah. That way, if I post Isaiah's address, Isaiah can see that I posted his address and like report me for it. But like, there's so many things that have to happen for that to even be a thing. And then also, your job as a platform is to be like, I agree that I shouldn't be able to like dox Isaiah or something, even if I block him or whatever. But like, you should be monitoring me about that. Like, so you're saying now it's Isaiah's job to essentially I don't want to be dramatic with it, but online, like, leer over at me when I've already blocked him so that he can make sure I'm not saying anything about him. Like, that's like a lot of like steps removed. I think that logic is super flawed and not, it's crazy stuff. So, and, I talk about like, this kind of gets into how we use the internet. I've loved using social media to connect with people, and eventually became, into building my career and all of that. But even before that, I was always posting a lot. Like, I liked posting online, and that's only become more true, I think, as I've gotten into my career of games media. But I am big on blocking. My number one thing that I do on the internet is I block people. And, everyone has their own approaches to like whether or not they block or whatever. Like, I'm curious how many, like, do you really block? Have you even ever blocked anybody, really? I feel like you're kind of living in a... You're in a chill kind of life, so I don't know.
I have, and not many, right? I am so much smaller online than you are that I just inherently am exposed to less toxicity, I think speaking of though, I think one of the cool features of Blue Sky, which as someone like me who I'm going into Blue Sky with a more conscious approach to how I organize the social media. One of the things they have are like block lists, basically, where like you can, if Janet, right, for example, say you are like, you know what, these are some people I remember them from Twitter, or like, oh, these are just people who like are really toxic, or they they don't add to conversations, blah blah blah. I'm gonna block them for whatever reason. You can make a list of those like people, and then like others can subscribe to that block list so that like as you block more people that you find toxic or harmful or whatever, then like they are automatically then blocked for those people who subscribe to that list as well. And I've seen some of that already show up for political parties or just like toxic bots or like people who are labeled as grifters and stuff like that. And it's like, okay, cool. I think that like because there's also a subscription list as well where it's like they call them starter packs, where it's like here's a group of people. It's basically like taking lists of users and like allowing you to do mass actions against that list, where it's like, oh, you can auto subscribe to these people, you can auto block these people, maybe you can like auto mute. I'm not sure. I know that Blue Sky inherently is doing a lot of cool things with their lists. Yeah. And that to me is enticing. Do you find because Blue Sky is like, it is basically like Twitter. Like, it does a lot of things that Twitter does. Follows. It's very like text based. Like they now can add like photos and videos and stuff too, which is like a semi newer feature to Blue Sky. It took a while for that to get added. But I know I've asked you for like help with a lot of things on Blue Sky. Do you feel like, I guess, does that make them sort of unique as a social media platform for you? Like, do you feel like it's more custom? Like, as a techie, are you like your other tech friends like, oh, I love how I can put the flim flam in the shim sham. They finally gave me access to my flamometer, and now I can really make my page the way I want it to be. To a degree, yes. There seems to be. So Blue Sky
is this Twitter for Redditors, like
no, I wouldn't say that. It is, just to take a quick step back about like what is Blue Sky and how does it work a little bit under the hood. It operates on, I don't know how to pronounce it, whether it's the AT protocol or AT protocol. I think it's AT protocol because that would make sense being the social media. It operates on the AT protocol, which is a like open, agreed upon process of working that like Blue Sky conforms to. But it's not exclusive to Blue Sky. Blue Sky does not own it. Any other other websites can also work on the AT protocol. Yes.
Do you have a more layman's term way to explain that?
Yeah. It's like the highway system.
Okay.
Where Blue Sky is like, we're going to work on the highway system where you drive on the right side in the United States highway system. You drive on the right side, you stop at red lights, you can turn right on red, and you use your blinkers to indicate what's going on. Okay. That is not exclusive to, let's say Blue Sky is like, I don't know, Toyota or something. It's like, all right, cool. None of that is exclusive to Toyota. Right. They make cars that conform to these road rules, but Honda can make a car that conforms to these rules. Kia can make a car that conforms to these rules. And so like you can have sort of your own like way of driving, and it can port from car to car, right? You turn your blinker on here, or like you ease off the gas here, or this, that, and the third. And like you can in theory, if all these cars are working on the same rules, they all work the same way, you can move from car to car and bring your sort of patterns with your identity with you, right? Your license. You can bring your license with you from car to car, and they all work on this road because it's conforming to the road rules.
This reminds me of when Edwin's trying to explain music theory to me. He's like, it's 7 p.m., but is it 7 p.m. Wednesday or Thursday? There's still a 7 p.m. Every day has it's a different day.
Yeah. So the AT protocol is like your license, and Blue Sky is just one car on the road that conforms to this. And you can take your license from car to car. Cool. And I think that tech Twitter, which is the list that I made and I call it, is really getting behind that, and that like, oh, this is actually like really, really cool under the hood, because it's allowing you, like, the reason why verification on Twitter was so big was so that like people who have these communities and these like followers, they can like they can ensure their community that their identity is them. Like the handle @GameOnasis, when it had that blue check mark and you saw something by @GameOnasis, you knew, okay, this is Janet. This is like a verified account. This is actually Janet. It's not some Smurf account or spoof account or meme account or anything like that. What the AT protocol is doing is allowing for that same thing, but it then being transferable across social medias that all conform to this thing. So like your license can be @GameOnasis, and that'll be verified. And then any car you get in and you put your license on it, it's like, oh, that's a Honda, but that's a @GameOnasis Honda. Oh, that's a Kia, but that's a @GameOnasis Kia. Like you across the board, you can like verify like, oh, this is me. And that's, I think, the thing that people are getting behind.
The one thing I kind of lost the plot on. So what do you mean by like verify? Like, are you talking about in reference to the fact that you can like port your domain as your handle?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And that was the thing that I had to have you help me do.
Yes. So Blue Sky,
on just Pentapixels. I decided to just keep my GameOnasis Blue Sky handle, because I'm like, it's more casual. Like, I don't need it to be GameOnasis.com until I fix the very out of date information that's on GameOnasis.com.
Sure. But so take that as an example, right? ESPN, right? ESPN, the company, they own ESPN.com. They can set their Blue Sky handle, if they choose, to ESPN.com. And that is on the protocol. So then if, Green Sky shows up as another platform that is on the same protocol, not only can they automatically choose to get the ESPN.com handle, no one else can get the ESPN.com handle because they own that domain. And
I've noticed that actually, now that you're mentioning it in this way, I saw, I don't want to name the company because I don't want to misattribute in case I'm misremembering, but the TLDR is I saw somebody from like a small, not that small, but like an indie studio talking about, oh man, like I got here late, like someone already took like our handle, and then someone in the reply said, oh, well, you can set it to the .com though. And then you're like, good there. So I do think that's also a unique thing as like a user who doesn't like understand like the larger overarching like impact of what was it called at protocol.
Yeah.
What I do understand is that it's one of my biggest pain points is like that's why I'm running everywhere to get these handles because I'm like I need my handle, and the thought of like I don't need my handle, I already have a domain, and just kind of importing that is really cool and is like a nice feature of the platform. And the thing I've really liked about this platform, and I don't know how much of it is like, you know, more of like, yeah, it's back to like the impressive under the hood, the blue skyology of the inside. Yeah. But I like being able to like, and I think you can do this to a degree on Twitter, but being able to have these separate feeds. I do think Twitter has some customization in feeds as well, but like when they don't have customization, and that was a big sticking point and has been an ongoing sticking point on the internet, is the idea of the For You page beyond TikTok. Like, I feel like companies have not, I'm sure maybe it works for some of their analytic gains that they want to have in terms of like pumping ads and stuff. But on TikTok, people love the For You page. Most people use the For You page and not their following list. Like when I'm on my following list, I'm like, wait, hold on, let me get back to the For You page. And that is unlike any
discoverability kind of thing.
Yeah, it's unlike any other platform. Because on Instagram, I hate having this freaking For You style algorithm. I wanted to see who I follow. On Twitter, same deal. I'm like, why do you default me to the like? I want to be on my following. I don't want to be. And here, there is no For You. I mean, there can be a For You, I think, if you keep it on there or add it in or like a discover. But it's like I just have following. And then one thing that's really big for me is having my mentions in its own tab or a way to filter notifications. Blue Sky doesn't have a notification filter. It just says like your notifications, and the wedge just says you can enable priority notifications where like if I follow them, that gets prioritized. But that's it. They said they're going to add more controls over time, but that's all they have. I tend to get like a decent amount of, I think just notifications in general, but only a couple of mentions. But I like to see my mentions and like potentially reply to people. So having to scroll kind of like, for instance, like on mine, it's like, oh, they show my likes on like this picture I posted. And then I scroll down and there's the repost of the picture I posted. And then I scroll down and there's more likes on the same picture. Like they don't necessarily clump together nicely. So being able to have a tab that's just my mentions and see that is really nice because on Twitter, and then I have so many filters, rightfully so on Twitter, that I kind of don't get that many of my mentions like ever. Though the main way I reply to people are on Twitter, if I really want to, is I go to directly to my page, I go to a tweet that has a couple of replies, and I'll click into that and then manually read them. That's also the only way I see troll replies, which is awesome. Like I don't actually, the few times I get big traction in a negative way on my posts and I have a lot of trolls, all the blocking and hiding I do is manually done. Like none of that hits my direct mentions. I never see it, but I just go in there for cleanup for the sake of like trying to keep my page clean. But yeah, like to bring it back, I'm big into blocking, and I mostly block people that, the standard stuff, right? Of course, like hate speech, automatic block, but also like if you're too, like ignorant in a way that isn't like maybe directly like bigoted, but is like ignorant enough that like I don't want to deal with you. An easy example is like console war stuff. Like it's like if you're genuinely posting console war shit, like I'm gonna block you. Sometimes people that you can just tell, like after a while being on the internet, knowing how to read things, knowing how to read people, knowing how to read in general, which most people on the internet don't really know how to read. You can just tell when it's like on the surface, it might be like, oh, she blocked me because I disagreed with her take on Final Fantasy VII. No, I blocked you because I can tell you're an asshole. I can tell, like, you can kind of just get certain vibes. People being overly like mean in a personal way or like accusatory. Like I bring up the Final Fantasy VII one because it just people got so mad. People got so mad they only Final Fantasy VII. But like one of them was like someone being like, oh, this is rage bait. This must be how you make your money. It's like, I don't want to talk to you. You're an asshole. Like, you know what I mean? So like stuff like that, people being rude to other colleagues, on other, like if I see anyone being a jerk and I want to take the few seconds, I will just like block them. And that looks like a lot of different ways at different times, but like that is how I keep my like people always ask me, like especially my peers, so like, I don't know how you're on Twitter. Twitter's so toxic, it's so bad, blah, blah, blah. And there's definitely a lot of bad shit. And I know people that have had really horrible experiences on social media. I don't want to make light of that at all. But my answer to like, how do I enjoy being on Twitter? I don't see most of the stuff that's troll shit, and I block everybody really easily. Yeah. And I've been lucky and that I haven't had like really big hate brigades sent my way, which some of my peers cannot say. And like some of that stuff is, you can't moderate through that. And it's just like hell, like unless the platform takes care of it. So that's those three, that's the magic cocktail of why I enjoy my time there. So I'm like, you're nerfing like 2 parts of my cocktail, which, or like the one part, the blocking part. So I'm like, yeah, I need this is like so valuable to me. I'm like, and again, I'm not leaving the platform by any means. I have a huge following on there contextually based on my other social medias. I'm like close to 30K. It is very much a huge part of how I built my career, which is true for a lot of my peers. You will pry Twitter out of my cold dead hands. And it's sad what the platform has become. But that being said, it's always good to like grow in other stuff. So then like, it's been great having so many of my peers at the exact same time as me be like, what if I tried to like get on here more? And then it kind of was the perfect storm where like, it feels like everyone in my circle who wasn't already like all in on Blue Sky was like, today I'm going to give Blue Sky a chance.
Yeah.
And the day I gave it a chance, everyone else was also there. So I'm like, oh, this is a really great place to be. And then it kind of, even though that's all kind of artifice in a way, it's like we weren't all here, but we all showed up at the same time. So we just felt like everyone, I'm like, oh wow, everyone's here. It's like actually everyone is here for the first day. It's day one for most people in terms of really like trying to be like committed to it. So but like it's been really fun. And then like, again, it's the, not exactly Pavlov, but it's kind of the a cyclical thing now at this point, right? Where it's like, okay, now I'm on here, more people are getting on here, and as more people get on here, there's gained value for me being on here, and as I gain value being on there, I'll be on here more, and as I'm on here more, other people, whether they're peers or fans, will also be on here more, and it'll just kind of like I've gained like probably I wish I kept track. I feel like at least like 3,000 followers since Twitter changed blocking, because I think I only had like, or at least 1,000, because I can't remember if I had like 1,000-ish or if I had like 3,000-ish on Blue Sky, but I'm at like 4.5K on Blue Sky. And like the follows aren't necessarily everything, but like what they to me indicate is like the liveliness of what's going on. Which then in turn, for me, the benefit is like I get to share my work with people, which is one of the big reasons I do what I do. I like putting work out to the world and creating conversation and having conversations. But I also like, part of my job inherently is being seen. And that's not necessarily a numerical thing, but the numbers can help my odds. Because again, I'm a big believer in you can have, and I know a lot of people that have small followings, but the right people notice them or know them or give them work. And like, that's all that really matters. And that's why I'm like a big proponent of like, don't get too caught up on the numbers of anything, because like maybe you only have 100 viewers, but maybe one of those viewers is going to like change your life, or like maybe they're gonna get, like you don't know the impact of it. So I just want to emphasize that like I'm not just like chasing a vanity number. I mean, I am a little vain, and it's nice to have good big numbers, because like number go up, maybe other numbers in my life will go up, my health, my income, like my emergency fund. But yeah, that's kind of my role with things. But what about you? What's your social media life like? What are you doing over there? What are you looking to get into?
I would say I'm also trying to make Blue Sky my new like, I don't know, micro blog home, right? Where it was Twitter before, and like you said, I also tried Threads. I also tried Mastodon.
I hope Threads never blows up, because I don't want to go. It's so bad over there. It's so corporate is the feeling.
It does feel that way. And Blue Sky feels very like, I know people say it all the time on there. It feels like early Twitter, or like, it feels like the golden age of Twitter, where it was like everyone's just having fun. They're just vibing. You're seeing the content your friends post. You're not seeing ads everywhere. Like, it feels good. And I'm hoping that stays. I want to make Blue Sky my new home. I'm also on Reddit a lot, right? I do development. I do game dev stuff. I do web development and tech in general. So there's a lot of like subreddits that I go to. Sports, I'm getting into the Galaxy stuff, and there's a lot of cool communities on Reddit. There's also a lot of not cool communities on Reddit. I try to stick to the cool communities that I find on Reddit. But I'm there as well. TikTok, like you mentioned, is a big one for us, where we're all constantly sending each other videos and finding
I love TikTok,
funny clips and things like that. I don't post as much to any of those, but that is something I'm trying to be more active at, just because it it takes a lot of time. To me, I know one of your big, I'm gonna say gripes, but maybe gripe is the right word. With me is that like when it comes to doing stuff like on TikTok, for example, it's like, oh man, you just put it out there, just hit the record button and post it. And then to me, it's like, oh no, but I want it to look good, I want it to sound good, I want it to be good, and this, that, and the third. So I'm trying to get out of my own head with that and post more stuff there. As well as especially now that we have the show, it's like, like I want to be present online with the show. You know what I mean? So yeah, don't know if I have as many rules as you do. Kind of like you said, big number going up does feel good in general. But even to play devil's advocate against myself for that, it's like, I'm following a lot less on Blue Sky and instead trying to create more curated lists, because what Blue Sky allows you to do is like pin a list of people and then you create a feed from that list basically. So it's like, like I don't follow any gaming companies, right? You know, PlayStation, Nintendo, Xbox, Bethesda, Ubisoft, like I don't follow any of those. I have a list of them and I have a feed for their content. But I don't follow them because there's no, like, I don't know. I'm trying to be more, I guess, like you said, curated with my follows on this platform, where it's like, I don't know you in real life. I can see your content when I want it, but I don't want it just injected into my normal feed.
Well, you seem to want kind of like an anti-corpo feed.
Yeah. If I can follow,
or corpo free, maybe not anti, because you like companies, but it's just like, following is different. Like you get kind of a different amount of.
So I'm trying to follow only people, and specifically people that I either know or like, you know, on a somewhat friendly basis, like personally, or at least like they got the sauce, and it's like, all right, yeah, cool. Like I know you enough that you got the sauce, and I want your content injected into my feed when I open the app. So I don't know. It's cool. It's cool. It's nice. I like where it's at right now. I don't know how long this is going to last, but you know what? We're here for it.
Yeah, it's been fun just kind of like having a space that just doesn't have which granted, you know, I try not to be too like idealistic about Blue Sky's niceties, because part of that is it's like much lower popularity. And like, I think a lot of people can get really negative on social media, sometimes rightfully so, about how bad, quote unquote, it can be. But the way I was describing to someone else is like for instance, today we're going to the Galaxy game, right? What's that stadium hold? What Dignity Health Park for capacity? Their capacity is 27,000, right? And maybe they're not like sold out every day, but let's put that at 25K or whatever, 20K. Sure. There are some horrible people going to this game today. Like, it is guaranteed. Yeah. And like, I don't like to think that, because it's like, especially, you know, we like the team, and ideally like the fans are cool for the team and blah, blah, blah. But the reality is, there are going to be there's some bigots in there. There's some assholes. There are some people that are just annoying. Like, there are different flavors of someone I don't want to interact with. Yeah. They're all there with us. And hey, maybe we're that for some people. I'm not saying you could block me and I don't have a problem with that. I'd say actually, if you don't like my content, you should block me. I'm like, I never understood why people were like, like I saw someone respond to a peer and they were like, another bad take from, you know, we'll just say Isaiah. Like, someone replied to Isaiah, another bad take from Isaiah. I'm like, why are you here again? Yeah. Like, why are you saying this? Like, just leave. Anyway. So the reality is, with numbers always comes enemies, you know, to some degree. So I think that's why Blue Sky just feels like a nice little utopia. But it does kind of feel good to have this almost like mom and pop vibe. And I'm a big fan of, I think like you, products that we like, that we feel work well, and wanting them to do well, especially when newcomers to a space that's very saturated. It's like fun to kind of be, you know, there.
Yeah,
kind of
just feel like underdog a little
I'm
bit.
I'm at the indie Twitter. It's like fun, you know. But I'm still on Big Dog Twitter or whatever as well, and enjoying, you know, posting there to varying degrees. There's still a lot of people on there. My feeds are still pretty active, and I try to, you know, keep my presence on both. But I have been experimenting with being more on Blue Sky, and that's been fun. For me, I haven't really followed a lot of corporations on there because I've been too lazy to want to do like a full import list. Sure. And then also a lot of companies like aren't there quite yet. Sure. So like I looked up the LA Galaxy, for instance, and there is an LA Galaxy.Blue Sky, but I'm like, this isn't. Yeah. I think it's just somebody took this handle. Like because it has like 4 followers and no posts. I'm like, I think it's just someone took this handle. So,
that's fair.
You know, we'll see if they get on there. I'll follow them on there because that's fun. But Yeah. The closest thing to rules I don't have anything too crazy. I love to write and post. I've been posting a lot since like I first started like my Twitter, or like back before that it was, MySpace and Facebook. Like I've always been a big poster. My only rules are, again, I'm big on blocking. It's not really a rule. It's just kind of how I move. I don't post in real time for where I'm at, with some exception. Like today when we're at the game, like because I've chosen to make it public knowledge that like we have season tickets, we go to these games. Like to me, it's like, if I didn't, no offense to me, but like if I didn't want people to know that I was at this game,
you probably wouldn't have
I would have
said
been
a
like,
lot
let's
of stuff
never
before
tell
this,
them.
yeah.
Exactly. I'm like, let's just not tell people we have season tickets. I've just chosen to be like, you know what? I think my odds are like fine for like, weirdos or whatever. Like, and it's a big I don't mind that. But those are like exceptions. For the most part, we go to brunch. I'm posting that brunch like hours later kind of vibe. Yeah. And I think that's mostly kind of it. All my other stuff is also in that kind of safety vibe of like, I don't go as strict as I maybe in a way should, but like generally kind of basic internet safety of like, if I'm, I don't take pictures a lot, like around where we live, or I try not to have like too many, like stuff like that. There's not too many personal things because we don't have like kids or something where I'm sure like we'd be careful about like posting their faces and stuff like that. But like, other than that, little light stuff. And I'm trying to just be a little bit less on social media, just because I think it can be a negative time sink. I do think social media, especially in our era and in my job, can be used to bolster my career. But I also think it can be used to just dick around for a bit. And I have fun reading, people's funny jokes, and like I like scrolling TikTok. So I did I'm experimenting with a little bit of the screen time caps, especially on my phone, because I still have my laptop where I'll open like Twitter and Blue Sky on my laptop sometimes. Like I'm just trying to be like a little bit more focused, because I do spend alarming amounts of time when I look at some of these apps on my screen time thing. I'm like, oh shit. I'm like, maybe that's where I could have wrote those articles. Like it might be those hours, But what about you? You seem like you have maybe something in the chamber.
No, I was just one thing that I found, and I know this, I've been glazing Blue Sky this episode, but I'm enjoying it, and I think it's really good, and a lot of stuff they do is cool. Last thing I'll say is one of the things that I saw, I haven't checked this on myself, so it's, take it with a grain of salt. But one thing I saw that someone shared is that like, oh, you can like mute stuff with the exception of your followers. And I thought that is really cool. Like, again, part of that whole, maybe not safety, but being in media, you're always worried about spoilers or something like that, all right? Like, if the new, I don't know, next Spider-Man movie comes out, it's like, oh, maybe I'm going to mute Spider-Man.
Yeah.
But I'll let my followers, because I trust them, go through there where they're like, oh, I can see that, oh, so-and-so liked it or so-and-so disliked it. But I don't have a fear that, like, I don't know, Game Odyssey is going to be like, Spider-Man dies in the beginning of the movie, That
is cool.
I think that's something that's cool. And one of the things I'm most excited for in a post-Twitter world is like platforms popping up and like including some of these niceties that the big dog of Twitter doesn't have a reason to add, or at least maybe even has like a reason not to add it, right? Because they want more views, they want more engagement, they want sometimes to like feed into the rage bait of like content, because that makes them money.
That's the other huge like L for Twitter recently has been like, if you're verified, you can monetize your account, which like I don't necessarily have a problem with that inherently, but what that has turned into is like you do get a lot of like rage baiters who will be like, and some people do think, some people also have just takes that aren't raging. So it's like, is this rage bait or do they have a bad take? Like it might just be kind of, but you'll see a lot of like Sydney Sweeney mid just to like start, get the views up or whatever. So yeah, I mean, you kind of have that problem with like a lot of platforms, because even if it's not about monetization, some people just, they want the attention, or they want the, I don't know, or everyone has their own thing they got going on, right? So I'm not saying that's unique only to Twitter. I think TikTok has a lot of rage bait posts as well for probably similar reasons, views and all that. Something I just noticed is with your chat settings in Blue Sky too, you have to turn on everyone if you want DMs from everyone, or just follow or whatever. It's defaulted to follow, which makes sense. But something else I really like about Blue Sky from a moderation standpoint, which like, hey, I'd love for Twitter to take any of these. But again, Twitter seems to be kind of taking a step back in terms of moderation, which I think is a really big mistake. just for all involved. Like, I feel like this, again, my big thing, it's fine if we have like, different people are listening to this that might have different opinions on it, but I just feel like a lot of the moves Twitter has made are moves that an annoying and or problematic sector of the internet would be excited about. They're like, don't you hate how like, man, I'm not seeing any posts because everyone blocks me. It's like, I feel like the solution is not so that you can now see posts. The solution is not to be like so damn blockable. I don't understand how like this is up, it's like what? Like everyone joked like Elon doesn't have anything on his feed because everyone blocked him. So he just made this like, I don't know. But another really cool thing you can do on Blue Sky is if someone quotes your post, you can untie yourself from that.
Yeah, I thought that was cool.
I like have wanted so many times in like Twitter because like the it's like, and sure, I know haters will say, oh, Gameosis hates to be beaten up in the QRTs, but like sometimes I do because like some of y'all be beating me up for the wrong reasons. You know what I mean? It's like, there are some things where it's like I don't want the noise of it or whatever. And again, when you post publicly, as I have all my accounts are like public pretty much on all, I think, social media, you do open yourself to like those kinds of like different comments or different scrutinies and stuff. But I don't know. You have your tools and I have my tools. And I think my beef with like stepping way too much from that moderation, it's like that is what can give me power or any user power to navigate being public online. And to make that like a good experience for themselves. And it's like, if we're going to take away those tools and make it easy, like it just kind of is, it's an imbalance of power, I think, to some degree. But yeah, Blue Sky's been fun. Still on Twitter. We'll see how that goes. And we'll see what happens. I'm definitely a little nervous for Blue Sky in the sense of it's hard to make things and run things and for things to grow. So, like we'll always have this fall together. Yeah, no matter what happens.
This moment, this
we'll
season.
all have this time.
Some people are with you for a lifetime. Some people are with you for a season.
For a season, yeah, exactly. Cool. Are you down to move on to some community questions? I don't know what we can call. Do we have we need a cute name, like a mailbag or like a...
maybe mailbag.
The Q zone or something like.
If there's something a fun name we can come up with,
like a gang related name, but that isn't like violent.
I'm down to switch it. Let us know if you have an idea.
I also don't want to be like cheesily gang. We're gonna post up on the corner. Yeah. We're posting up on the block with our listeners. Like I don't want anything like that.
Yeah. Let us know if you have an idea. I don't think
real gangbangers podcast. But like for spoilers, I just don't think.
I think just mailbag is good for now.
Yeah, we're gonna get in our bag. No, okay, that's also awful. So yeah, we'll get here's the mailbag. I don't know. I don't think I'm like.
It is cheesy.
I am very modern, yet I don't think I'm hip enough to pull that off. It sounds cheesy when I say. I think if you said it, you're a little bit cooler than me.
I was getting the bag.
Yeah, you're just better, a little. You got a little bit more dip on your chip, positively. Like I'm a little bit like. I feel like it's like remember that SpongeBob You're like let him have it. You can have it. Like I am. Yeah. It doesn't say a lot that you're the cooler one between us because I am how I am with my dorpiness. But yeah, when we have to say something cool, you can say it.
All right.
So, okay. Anyway. Cool. We're in the mailbag. We're in our bag. So this one's super old. Apologies for taking so long. Edgar from North Las Vegas wrote in back in the summer. So this is definitely a deep cut question. But they had written in talking about how they weren't, doing so much of gaming, but they were organizing their NAS network attached device. And they said, do you guys have a NAS or home server? What OS are you guys using? This can be an Isaiah question. They say, love the podcast. But then they also write, this part is pretty funny to me. They said, I've listened to Janet for years, so I know a lot about her, but I don't think you guys introduced Isaiah. I thought he was Hispanic because of his name and voice. Quick addressing on that. We do go into some intros in episode 1. We don't do any racial call outs, I guess, which I don't know. We didn't think to do for like introducing ourselves, but, Isaiah, what's going on with our what we're doing in our home, and then what's going on with like you not being Hispanic? Like, what's up with that?
So I'll start with the home. We I have a home server. I have a couple like 2 Raspberry Pis actually set up in the home that I just personally use to host stuff. I'm actually, it's funny enough, like a couple days ago I posted about it. I'm looking to actually move a lot of my home self-hosted stuff to the cloud just because our apartment has tons of issues with the electricity going out randomly or the internet failing randomly or whatever, right? And so in my head, it's like, well, there's some services and stuff that I want to host. And so far it's been fine hosting it at home. But if I can't reliably access it, then I need to just move this elsewhere. So there's some stuff I'm going to be moving to. Most of my stuff I'm going to be moved to the cloud. And that will free up the Pi server that I had running it. So one thing I'm thinking about doing is actually maybe we go to Micro Center again, get some storage for cheap.
You love that Micro Center.
And and just create some like network storage.
But you know what?
Stuff.
I can get those tacos again from that truck.
Yeah, those tacos were good. So we do not currently have a NAS, but I think in the future we probably will. Yeah. Because we use a lot of media, right? Like as you guys can probably imagine, we have this show every week. We have Janet streams on shows throughout the week. I'm looking to stream a little bit more. Maybe there's some like other recording stuff we do here and there. This data takes storage, and we have, some portable drives around the house that we use for stuff, but it'd be nice to have something that can be accessed on our computers without having to unplug things or go work at our desktop or do whatever. So a network attached storage, which is what NAS stands for, would be nice to have. And maybe that's a project that we actually jump into. So as far as why am I not Hispanic? I don't know. I'm sorry. I don't know why I'm not Hispanic. It's so funny that like, I think around this time,
yes.
Around the time that this email came in, we were like out shopping. I think we went to like Home Depot or something or
it was
Lowe's
Home Depot.
or somewhere.
Yeah, maybe Lowe's. Yeah, it was one of the two.
And like randomly, one of the employees, like we asked a question looking for like, I don't know, 2x4 or something. And one of the employees looked at me and he goes, "Do you know Spanish?" And it was the most random question. I was like, no, not really. Like I'm, trying to, I think I was doing my Duolingo at the time. I was like, I'm trying to learn, but
you could smell the Duolingo on you.
Yeah. And no follow-up question. Like there was no like, oh, okay, cool. I was wondering if you could help me with something or this or that. No, he just asked if I knew Spanish because I'm assuming maybe he also thought I was Hispanic and was trying to see if.
I guess you should have asked why.
I should have. And
you know what might have happened? In my mind, this is what happened. Either he, one, thought you were Hispanic and was just curious if you knew Spanish, or two, separately, before we asked the question, someone spotted, they were having their own conversation. This is my headcanon lore, where they're like, do you think that people who are, because I feel like I look Hispanic to most people.
Well, I don't know.
I know some people, we're getting to that, but mostly I would say I look Hispanic. I think a lot of people would look at me and see a Hispanic person. At least in the United States, where there's a good amount of Hispanic people. Maybe they were wondering, like, do people who are with Hispanic people just know Spanish from like, because a lot of people assume I know Spanish, which is not a bad assumption. Like a lot of us do know Spanish. I know some Spanish. I probably honestly know more Spanish than I give myself credit for, but I'm not fluent.
Sure.
So maybe they were asking that. And you know how you ever have those conversations where you're like, you know what, let's just ask this guy. Maybe you were like there for their case study.
I was that guy.
And they're like, let's ask this this guy.
I can see that. You know what? I think that makes sense. Yes. That seems real plausible.
I don't feel like you sound Hispanic. I don't know.
Maybe I do. I don't know. I kind of have like a lisp. I fumble over my words a lot. So maybe like.
What are you trying to say? No, I was kidding.
I'm saying I'm not clear when I speak.
Can you say,
I
listen to a lot of, not a lot of Bad Bunny, but Bad Bunny plays decently. I mean, that's a kind of a common, like,
be
like, hey, he does that a lot with his like songs. So we'll say that a lot in the apartment randomly.
People, there was a weird phrase where people thought I was Hispanic.
Isaiah had his Latino era, basically.
Yeah, people will see Janet and they'll think she's black, and like, I don't know what it is. Maybe the way the lights are always showing on us, we get lighter and darker, and people are like, oh, what's going on?
Yeah, like the thing about, like, I've never talked about this on content, so this is exclusive content for y'all, but I've talked about it with Isaiah privately, my brother privately, and maybe like some of my friends, like where people will be in the YouTube comments sometimes on like shows I do or whatever, and they're like, allude to me being black. I'm not black. I'm half Mexican, half Puerto Rican. Or like I've gotten on, like, again, we're talking about being on social media, people will be like, oh, like, for like Black History Month, for instance, they're like, oh, tag your favorite like black creators, and people will tag me in those posts. And then I'll have to be like, yeah, like, which is like such a funny spot to be in, where it's like, they're like, oh man, like, it's like they really want to be supportive of the black community, but I'm like, I'm not black, so I don't know what to do here. I think you have to remove me from this post.
Thank you. I fuck with it. I'm not the target for this, but I
What's funny too is that person's
anyways.
like, yeah, I have so many black creators that I love, and I'm like, are any of the creators, are they actually black? Like they might not be black. But yeah, which is to say that you are a black person.
Yes,
and that is your
just black.
If you're an audio listener, this is Isaiah's racial reveal. I don't know.
Yeah. We also have another question, right?
Yeah, but that was really funny, and I'm glad we got to get to that.
Yes.
So there we go. Yeah, another comment that came through. This one was from Travis Manick. Is how most my guess of pronouncing. Apologies if it's mispronounced. From Minnesota, they write in and say, "Hi, I'm a min-max to gang convert."
Hell yeah.
Which I was
gang,
also
gang.
They still, I think, gang. I think they still listen to the min-max show. It kind of this kind of was in like I've left min-max to go to gang. I think they listen to Min-Max, and that brought him over to the Gangcast. Said, been listening since day one. Shout out to our day one listeners.
Hell yeah.
You two have great. You guys have you two have great chemistry. It's like you're engaged or something. So it's super fun to listen to. A random idea I had that you could do on the podcast would be relationship questions. Nothing personal, just like, what is your favorite meal I cook? What's a time that you got really mad when we're playing a game together? Stuff like that. Hit one a week, fun chat, and it'd be a unique angle that other podcasts can't do since they don't have your dynamic. They also take some time to write to us a little bit about Gloomhaven, offering to answer our questions via Discord. So appreciate the offer and the dropping the handle and all that, because they have been playing with their friends for some time. And then they end saying, lastly, I'm a web dev by trade, so it's really fun to hear Isaiah talk about React stuff as well. I don't get a lot of cross-pollination between that and gaming, so bonus points, ha. That's all. Just love the show and wanted to say hi. Appreciate you writing in. I don't think we're necessarily looking to add like a new segment this early into the show, but we did want to take a little stab at it, answer the two questions, and we'll see, maybe we'll do a topic more fleshed out of us just kind of doing back and forth questions. So bringing it back to the questions, what is your favorite meal that I cook? It's hard not to laugh asking that. Isaiah's the bigger cook in the house at this point, but
I do.
I have some
I
guesses.
guess it's fair to say I do more of the cooking, but I do more of the like day-to-day cooking, but I think you do more like dishes, if that makes any sense. Like when you cook, it's more involved. Me, I'm like throwing stuff together. I'll, make a meat in two sides and like, all right, that's it. We're good.
The meat's so good though, and the sides are also good. Don't sell your mashed potatoes short. They're very tasty.
I would say my favorite meal that you make, and don't take any offense to this. I don't even think it's that it's like that crazy wavy or anything. It's just that every time you make it, it's exactly what I want. Is the chicken pot pie.
I whispered pot pie at the camera when you were like, I don't know. I mouthed
so
pot
funny.
Pie. Yeah, because that was my guess.
The pot pie, it's always so good. I don't know, something about. I don't know if it's pot pie as a dish itself, if it's the way you make it. We're always throwing, extra ingredients. We ain't got to be stingy with the ingredients. We throw as much chicken in there as we want, as many veggies as we want. We can make it as big as we want. We can make it as often as we want. And it's a fairly affordable meal too, which is like fantastic. Like it is, I think, overall great meal.
It is a very good meal.
Always happy when it's chicken pot pie day.
I figured you'd say chicken pot pie. In my mind, I know you're a big fan too of the chorizo potatoes.
Potato tacos are also really good.
But I think the pot pie reigns kind of supreme. It's so good. Shout out to thereisfoodathome.com. That is the website that I got the recipe from. So it's not my own or anything. Most of my stuff is not my own. I figure stuff out from online and people I know. It's called Creamy Chicken Pot Pie. The name of the cook, I guess, is August DeWint, which I never knew. I never read it. I only know her through TikTok, where her handle is also There's Food at Home, unless she changed it. And she has like, literally, I have not made every recipe. All her recipes bang. Like she had this. She has the buffalo cauliflower wings, which I know, like, you're more of like a regular wings person, but like they're good.
I like them still, yeah.
She has something else that I make too. Oh, the mac and cheese is Budget Bites, but she has like other stuff that I've made. Like, she's really good. I think when I make wings regular, the lemon pepper garlic,
those are good.
Those are from her. Which she got from her time as a Hooters girl, lore drop that she had.
Funny. All right.
She's like, I was a Hooters girl before, and I know how to make these fucking wings. So let me tell you, I love her. You're not listening to this show, but if you're listening, I love your shit. Please make a recipe book or please make a Patreon. I've been really wanting to find like, which, hey, if anyone has recommendations, I've been wanting like a Patreon chef because I figured like that must be such a good like use of the pot. You could just drop recipes and you just pay for like the written, you know, somebody.
Yeah, it's got to actually be
somebody
really good.
do like, if you guys are out there making Patreon cooking content and the food is good, like that's also the key part. The food got to be good. Yeah. For me, you feel free to make your mental guess. I think I got it.
Yep.
The wings, the hot wings. Yep.
Yeah.
The hot wings. Your hot wings are better than any wings I've had in my life.
Which I think is insane.
To, I will say, toe for toe, the barbecue that we had in Buffalo from Lenova's.
Lenova's, yeah.
Is technically, I guess I would technically say those wings are better, but I would also say those are very different style of wings.
Yeah.
So I don't really
like
compare
party
them.
wings versus almost like home.
Well, they're also like barbecue wings.
Yeah.
Like it's not like you made. I feel like if you made a barbecue, like watch out Lenovo, you know.
Man,
and they're also like harder, like wing. You know that you have to char that. Like they're a whole different thing. So I don't even really count that as being like,
God, they're so good.
you know. And honestly, if I could only eat one for the rest of my life, I would pick your wings over the barbecue. Still, I think.
Oh, man.
Just because your wings, they're classic hot wings.
Yeah, that's fair.
They're so good. I got nothing else to say. They're delicious. And you just
That's fair.
did you like come up with this yourself? Like, what's the vibe for these wings?
You just make wings growing up, and I don't know. In the black, I don't even do anything crazy. It's just like you just take your chicken, you bread it. You know, you got your seasonings in there. You make your sauce. You fry them up. You dip them, and good to go.
Isaiah invested in a fryer to make these wings.
It's so much easier to make the wings
easier.
with a deep fryer.
But that's what I feel like that acknowledgement. It's like he's
we're investing.
What's the word for that? He's true to this, not new to this. You know, like he.
I never heard that before. That's
good. He makes great wings, and then of course a tip of the hat to your breakfast sandwich, also delicious.
Yeah,
and also the consistency. I think it's another key thing to like, can you cook a meal like when you can make it every time and it's basically the same every time.
Yeah.
Which is true of the chicken pot pie. One time I did slip on the chicken pot pie. I over seasoned and it was a little too salty.
Sure.
But other than that,
as a whole,
all I have to figure out is how to like get it to be more together because it kind of falls apart when you cut it. I don't know why.
Yeah, I think we gotta just work with when we're unrolling the pie crusts. I think that's
one day I'd love for us to make our own pie crust from scratch. I think that could really
be cool.
Take it to another level.
Yeah.
So that's that. And then the other kind of mock question they threw out there was, what was a time you got really mad when we were playing a game together? I'm curious what you think, again,
I already
inverted.
know mine, and you know mine.
But what is mine? Is mine... I wasn't too mad, but I think the Lorcana loss was pretty rough.
Yeah, that was a hard
and I felt
one.
pretty mad at that because I knew, it's like you always like to play like, oh, it was so close. Oh my god, I won! Wow, it's like
it was really
I feel
close.
like you give like the pretty girl who doesn't know she's pretty, and she's like, "Am I beautiful? Oh my god, I'm so ugly, guys!" And I'm like, "Shut up, you fucking conventionally attractive bitch!" Like. But is there another time that you can think of that maybe I'm not thinking of where I got mad? I'm sure you'd remember more.
I don't know
if I was unleashing
no.
my anger at you about it. But
mad, no. I think the most you've had is just like moments where you just weren't having fun. Like we played Overwatch that time, and you just weren't
that
there.
Overwatch shit was ass.
But I don't think you were mad.
No, I wasn't mad.
You know what I mean? Like,
and we were on the same team, so it's like I can't really. How mad can I be? You know?
Why aren't you better?
Yeah, like I don't know. I guess some people do get like that. I never have felt that really. Yeah, I think the Lorcana was definitely like that was a rough hit. Haven't played Lorcana since. I feel like maybe I soured the experience of it.
I'm down to play whatever.
Me too, and I also want to keep playing because I want us to like retain
the
knowledge on how to play. But it was just such a like. It felt like a sports moment because, and I told the story in the pod. So like, if you go back to our Lorcana episode, you can hear me talk more about my horrible L. But like down to the wire. 1 point away. And like, I think with Isaiah winning something like that, like you hate to see the villain win. You know what I mean? It's like, because I'm the underdog. So it could have been a nice story, but instead it was just like, you just saw me lose slowly. And that was sad. You have your moment as well.
The most recent, we played EAFC 25. And it was just a shellacking, as you would put it. It was, I couldn't get a win. I couldn't get I didn't even get a shoot.
Specifically,
like
Rush
a shot.
was where you crashed out.
It was real bad. I just quit the game. I quit the game. I put it down. And I'm walking it back a little bit only because you seem very anti it. But I'm like, you know what? I don't even want to play against you for the foreseeable future.
Yes.
I am down to play with you where we're on the same team, but I do not want to play against you because the skill gap is just, to me, it's too big. I need to catch up, and I'm just not having fun until the gap closes.
So yeah, you definitely were very mad.
I was big mad.
It might be the maddest I've seen you. I do appreciate that. Like, you knew you were mad. You knew you were wrong for being mad, and you were just like, you know what? I'm mad. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to finish playing. It's over. And that was the end of the night. And I'm like, damn. Like, you know, but I wasn't as offended by you being that mad because I know what the game does to people because I've played for many years and I play against my brother Edwin and he is a bit better than me at the game. And also I'm used to the pain of like, that's the pain. I live in that pain of the like, you're facing someone a little bit better. Like that's always you. But I will say it hits way harder in EAFC/FIFA, however you want to call it. You know, FIFA was the old name. Because it's a sports game, it creates, and it's a sports sim, it creates like the intensity of watching a game in a way, but you're playing in the game. So it's obviously not the same as like if we played basketball, you know, soccer against each other in real life or something, but it almost replicates that in a way. So it's like, imagine the pain of your team losing in a soccer match that you really care about. Now imagine if you were the reason they were losing. You're controlling it, and the person across from you is the reason that you're losing also. Like you look and there's a mirror, and then you look and there's a window to the person you care about whooping your ass. And what can you do? You don't want them to go easy on you because then that's fake. You're just mad. And it's like, and also, I feel like it's a unique time where you get to experience what I often experience in other, you know, in board games, and then like playing against Edwin in FIFA has been my history, where it's like I became the villain, which like I was like, oh my God, I'm the villain, because even though I didn't do anything wrong, I knew that I was like the villain. I'm the team going against the Mighty Ducks kind of vibe because I know I'm better, and you
did not ease off,
and like I'm so clearly better. Well, did you want me to ease off? Like we were also it was Rush.
At the point where you were up 4-0, ease off.
Rush.
I don't
Rush
care.
is a totally different thing.
I don't care.
You can
ease
score
off.
goals really fast. You can score goals really fast, but as you can see, yes, it was definitely a wound, and I think the like knowing you're better and then being like, oh, but like it's not that big a deal, but like you feel like it's a big deal because like it's just if you've been in that situation, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's like that's so rough. So yeah. But yeah, well I think I'm okay with us not playing, but I think we can figure out a way for us to play together.
We might be able to. We might not.
Yes, because I think we could just, but it'll depend on how much you want that to happen, because there are solutions to the problem. Like I can just play with a worse team than you play. But I feel like you don't want this thing. You don't want me to go easy on you. You don't want me to back off. Because if you know what I mean? So we have to figure, that's something that has to be explored.
Yeah, we got to explore and see.
But I think no matter what, life is long. I would be surprised if we never play against each other again.
Never is probably not the case.
And I like playing the game a lot. And I am down to play with you on the same team. We can do that and have some fun with that and try. Then we can fight the computer. We can have a common enemy, you know? But yeah, you know, you live long enough to, what is it, the Harvey Dent? You die here, you live long enough to become the villain? Yeah, I hate that I am your Edwin, because I know who Edwin is for me. And I don't want to be that for you. And I get that we're like, let's just not play then, right? So we'll see. But yeah, you were mad. You were mad. You were big mad. But that's the game. But today we're on the same team. We're going to be watching the Galaxy later today, and that'll be fun. So, and hopefully they win. But no matter what, we're on the same team. So there you go. Exactly. Same shirt. Yeah. We have the same shirt in real life, and that's all that matters. But yeah, that's where we're at. And finally, we got the poll of the show. Last week, we asked y'all over on Twitter, because there's no other place. We can do YouTube one day, but it's also a pretty small crowd that uses the community feature. So for now, we're on Twitter with the polls. We got, who's your favorite classic horror villain? The options were Ghostface, Jason Voorhees, Freddy Krueger, and Michael Myers. The winner, tied.
Yeah, I think this might be our first tie. We had two number ones,
28.6% each. Ghostface and Freddy Krueger.
Which is so surprising to me.
Right behind, 25.7%, Jason Voorhees.
And Michael Myers.
People were not fucking with Michael Myers. This is what I learned.
Yeah, not as much. He's a measly 17%.
I think that makes sense, though, because I feel like he's not he's definitely visually iconic, but I feel like people don't fuck with him like that. Like, it makes sense. Freddy versus Jason was a whole thing. So those two being close. And then I guess, if anything, this made me realize like how much people like Ghostface. Because I feel like Ghostface...
Yeah, I was a little surprised to see that
doesn't get as much of the chatter.
There.
Yeah.
Maybe it's that other people had the...
people
the
did write in about... comment about the mask. And then I
Yeah.
saw something on my For You page talking about like people loving that mask back in the day.
Hell yeah.
I didn't actually vote in this because I have not seen the other movies. So
okay.
I'm waiting to pick my favorite.
I've seen enough that I voted, and I also voted Ghostface.
You voted for Ghostface. Yeah. Ghostface is pretty fun. So we'll see where things are at. What is this week's poll of the show?
This week's poll of the show, which you can find over on our Twitter at Games and Not. We're asking how many games are in your 2024 backlog. The options are going to be 0 to 5, so you're pretty good. You're pretty on top of it. 6 to 10, slipping a little bit, but hey, we still got a couple months left. 11 to 20, it's looking rough. Not gonna lie. And then 21 plus, which is like
21 plus, gang. Hey, where you at? That's where I'm at. Let's go.
Good luck. Wishing the best for you. So let us know where you fall in the poll over on our Twitter/X account.
Nice. And that is it for this week. You can send us your questions and topics to the email inbox at gamesandnotgames.com. You can follow the podcast version of the show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Pocket Casts, and everywhere else you get your podcasts. If you enjoy the show, be sure to give us that 5-star rating.
Boom. And if you're an audio listener, remember that you can catch the video version over on our YouTube at Games and Not Games. If you like the video, be sure to give it a like, as it helps us get in front of more people. Give us a follow over on social media while you're at it. You go over to YouTube, you hit the subscribe button, head over to our Twitter at Games and Not, or everywhere else at Games and Not Games. That's Blue Sky, TikTok, Twitch, etc. And give us a like and follow there. Help us get in front of more people. We're trying to grow the channel, grow the show, and that you can help. You can directly help us do that, achieve our goals. I think that's it. Till next time, gang.
Gang.
Peace.